Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, May the 28th, 2024. It's 9 a.m., and we're in the central jury room of the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. Today, we're very pleased and honored to have with us once again Pastor Alan Latta from Generations Church to give us a sterling invocation.
Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus, thanking you for the rain. Thank you, Lord, we're not in a drought. Lord, we pray for your safety upon our roads and our citizens this special day. And Father, we ask for your blessing upon this meeting. Lord, give us hearts to hear and minds to understand and lives to carry out what needs to happen. Thank you, Lord, for our leaders who are laying down their lives for us. We ask you, Lord, you bless them for their time. Thank you, Lord, for concerned citizens. Lord, bless them for their time today as well. Thank you, Lord, for your blessing upon this meeting. In Jesus' name, and everybody said,
Amen.
Can you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the pledge to the great state of Texas. I
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state,
under God, one and indivisible.
All right, our first item of business, we have a number of special presentations this morning. The first one is to a proclamation declaring June Elder Abuse Month. And I don't know if, is anybody here from that organization here? You are? Good. Come here. What is your name?
Stacy Butler. I'm with Adult Protective Services.
Good. You want to read this proclamation?
I can. Do you want me to read that first, or do you want me to read why we're here, or?
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you just explain why you're here, and then I'll let you read the proclamation. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Good morning, Judge Messingale and County Commissioners. I'm Stacy Butler with Adult Protective Services. Let me first thank you for proclaiming June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month in Hood County. Adult Protective Services is a state agency that investigates abuse, neglect, financial exploitation of the elderly and substantially impaired. We provide resources or intervention to prevent maltreatment. Our older adults are vital contributing members of our society, and everyone deserves the right to live free from abuse with dignity and respect. National research has shown as many as 1 in 10 older Americans are abused or neglected each year, and for every case known to programs and agencies, studies show that 24 cases are unknown or unreported. In a society that values the just treatment of all people, Elder Abuse Awareness Month reminds us that the elder abuse have implications for all of us, and it is important to find the right solutions to it. Therefore, it is imperative that we continue to raise awareness and take steps to prevent it in our communities. On behalf of our program, I would like to thank all our community partners, stakeholders, first responders, judicial partners, local government, and the commissioners for their continued support in helping APS carry out the mission, which is protect older adults and people with disabilities. If you need to report abuse, neglect, or exploitation, please call 1-800-252-5400.
Good. Well, good. Come up here, and we have done an official proclamation to designate June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. So I'm going to give you this proclamation, let you read it, and let you keep it, and take it back to your department. How about that? Good? All right.
Okay, official proclamation to designate June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. Whereas older adults and people with disabilities of diverse backgrounds contribute to the well-being of this city by working, caregiving, volunteering, actively preserving customs, rituals, and traditions. And whereas as we age, we build momentum by accumulating knowledge, experience, insight, and wisdom that can be shared to enrich our community. And whereas abuse of older adults and people with disabilities in a community concern affecting thousands of people across Texas. And whereas there are 120,069 reports of abuse of older adults and people with disabilities in Texas in 2023. And whereas abuse against older adults and people with disabilities is grossly underreported because of social stigma, embarrassment, and fear. Whereas adult abuse affects men, women of all income, ability levels, all cultural and ethnic backgrounds in all communities. Whereas elder abuse is everyone's business, it is important to strengthen our efforts to prevent and report abuse and address elder abuse. Therefore, the Hood County Commissioners Court does proclaim the month of June 2024 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month and urge all residents to work together to reduce abuse and neglect of older adults and people with disabilities, signed the 28th day of May 2024.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, sure.
Thank you very much for all that you do. All right.
Thank you. Commissioner Andrews, Commissioner Wilson, and Commissioner Eagle. Yes.
Good job. Good job. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is a presentation of Hood County 2023 Safety Achievement Award. Miss Melissa Welborn, who do we have here?
My name's Joe Shevchek. I'm with Texas Association of Counties, the risk management pool. So we're your insurance company. Workers' comp, auto, property, general liability. We provide all kinds of coverages for counties in Texas. And I'm your safety guy. I replaced Isaac Garcia a few months ago. He's the one that was providing training. And this award that I'm here to present today was based off of his work and the work of the county. We're recognizing some of the things that the county has done. They implemented policies. They kept losses at a minimum, trying to reduce those losses with workers' comp. This is a workers' compensation award. It recognizes everything that the county's done through training, through policy implementation, mitigating risk and things like that. So as a safety guy, it's not very often I get to come and share good news. Everybody cringes when the safety guy rolls around a job site and things like that. But no, I'm here for a job well done and to recognize the county for that work. As your risk control consultant, I do all kinds of stuff, provide training, education to mitigate risk. I help with facilities inspections where I may point out some things that could be done to mitigate loss from weather and things like that. I'll help look at roofs, help find maintenance management tools for the county to use to stay up to date on maintenance and stuff. So I'm a resource that's included with your coverage. And I was kind of double tapping to introduce myself as your new consultant, so I'm kind of stealing some thunder from what Isaac and the county did. So getting back to the safety award, you guys did a great job. You should be very proud of the work the county has done. And I have here the Safety Achievement Award that I'd like to give to y'all.
Is it going to reduce our rates and save us money?
Well, that's a good thing. I'm not the rates guy, but when you do the stuff that I recommend based off of losses and complete trainings and implement policies and procedures that can adjust your modifier to keep your workers' comp premiums from rising. Now, if you add employees, your costs are obviously going to go up, but we can definitely minimize how much it goes up. as a result of your efforts.
Good. Well, thank you very much for taking your time out, and I guess you want a picture of this. Let's put this in the paper. Yep. Let's go down here.
And anybody who works for the counties, you were part of this, if you could come up, we're going to get a photo of everyone.
Oh, you got the banner.
Banner.
All right, thanks, Don.
Sir, how are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. No, I'm the new guy, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. When do you guys want to hold this up here? It's not my award, it's y'all's now. You know?
Someone hold the other side. You're much better looking.
Come on. It's a team effort.
Constable Jordan.
JP Kelly, any other employees?
Diane, Herb.
Sharon?
Is that everybody?
Great.
Camera two. It's the backup.
Good.
I do see Larry Rasmussen.
Yes, sir.
This is good. All right.
Thank you.
Good deal. Good job.
What the tornado shelter is that we should announce in case of tornado, or you just stay here?
I don't know. Sheriff, are you checking for the tornadoes, if there's any likelihood of a tornado in this area? Or about you, Drew? You got some good... Yeah.
So is this the room, if there were a tornado warning, is this the room that we would just stay in to the residents?
This is probably the safest place right here, isn't it, Sheriff? In event of a tornado, we wouldn't want to be trying to... You and I know where the safest place in Hood County is, don't you?
We couldn't get there very quick.
Yeah.
We should be safe in here.
Okay.
I think the peak of the storm, the present storm just passed a little while ago. While I was running across the parking lot.
Yes.
Okay. All right, number 3, receive an update from Amy Campbell regarding Texas County and District Retirement System. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I blew in this morning as well. Judge, Commissioners, I am pleased to be here. My name is Amy Campbell. I'm with the Texas County and District Retirement System. You are usually, or you were expecting Erica Aguirre. She is your employer services rep for this region. I happen to be her manager. She was double booked. She's up in Wise County, so she got storms early this morning. So anyway, she apologizes for not being here, but I'm going to do the best I can to stand in with her. Again, we're with Texas County and District Retirement System. I represent your retirement plan. All right, I need whoever's helping me out. A little bit about TCDRS to begin with. I'm going to spend a few moments with you this morning just giving you an update on the plan as a whole, and then more specifically, the plan here with Hood County. Currently, we partner with over 850 employers. We have over 360,000 members and retirees that currently participate with TCDRS. As a system, we are 89% funded, and with our reserves, we're about 94% funded. And actually, I have updated numbers. Our annual report is about to come out next month, and these numbers will update. If you see at the end of the slide, we have over $42 billion in assets. As of December 31st, 2023, we actually have $43 billion in assets. So that will be updated. Go ahead. From the very beginning, we were set up for success. We were created in 1967 by the Texas State Legislature. Our first employers came in January 1st of 1968. One thing to remember about TCDRS is we receive $0 in state funding. Our funding comes from employer contributions, members' contributions, and our investment earnings. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Our operating costs are about 0.21% of our assets. So pension plans like ours are a very efficient way to run a retirement plan. And we're run by a 9-member board of trustees who are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate, and they serve staggered shouldn't say sentences, that's terrible to say.
They might think
oh
of
my
it.
gosh. They serve staggered terms, and at TCRS, they're all from within the state, and they're all either a member or a retiree of the system. So, like I said before, from the very beginning, we were set up for success. There are 3 unique features that set us apart from other retirement systems, even the other retirement systems within the state. We are a savings-based plan. And what does that mean? That means that your employees are saving for their own retirement over the course of their career. The very first day of employment, they start saving for their own retirement so that it's safe for when they get to that point. At the same time, you as a county are saving for those matching dollars that you've promised to match them when they retire. The key there is those matching dollars are only awarded if they retire and take a monthly benefit. If they ever quit and withdraw their account or they don't retire, they won't get those matching dollars. So you're saving for the matching dollars over the course of their career as well. The next feature that sets us apart is responsible funding. At Texas County and District Retirement System, we value each retirement plan every single year. Like I said in the previous slide, we have over 850 plans. Each plan is unique. They can have their own level of benefits, and each plan only funds their employees' benefits, not the neighboring county or the districts within that county, just their members. Now, we pool all of our assets for investment purposes, but when we look at your plan and we value it, it's for each individual plan. Our actuaries come up with an annually determined contribution rate, and that is your required rate. That means by state statute, you all have to pay what our actuaries determine you need to. And there are no contribution holidays. So you guys can't come back to us and say, you know what, we were in budget hearings, we're not going to pay that much this year, we'll make it up next year. You can't do that at TCDRS. And that leads to my final unique feature, which I think is the best feature of this plan. It's flexibility and local control. We ask you every year to review your benefits. That's the benefit package that you're offering your employees. We want to make sure that your benefits fit in line with your employees' needs, but more importantly with your budget. And if they don't, you have levers that you can pull to increase benefits if you need to, decrease benefits if you need to meet those 2 needs. Okay?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Very good.
And at any time, if you'd like to stop me and ask a question, I'm happy to pause. So currently, your employees are saving 7% of their pay on every single pay period. It's deducted pre-tax, sent to TCDRS, and deposited into their own account. Okay? Go forward. Maybe. The final account balance at retirement, like I said, when they retire and only when they retired, they're matched at 250%. And that's $2.50 for every dollar that they've saved over the course of their career at Hood County. So the parameters of our plan The highest employee deposit rate is 7%. Y'all are there. The highest employer matching rate at retirement is 250%, so you're there. So you have a very robust benefit package for retirement that really helps you to retain talented employees in your area, and, recruit talented employees, but also retain them. All right, next. So let's look at an average profile. And this is an interesting profile for Hood County. Your average employee profile is 48 years old with 10 years of service. Your average retiree is 63 with only 13 years of service. That's a little bit low as a system. Normally, years of service for the system is about 19 or 20 years. With an average benefit of $13,000, that might look low. But when you look at the years that they've worked, you think, is that really a career? What is a careered employee? Is that 20 years, 25 years, 15 years? Go ahead and click. I think this is an interesting slide, and this has actually gone up this year. In 2023, we actually paid out over $2.4 billion to retirees in Hood County, and that's from the county as well as all the districts within this area. We paid out almost $8 million. That money went directly back to the county. We know that 94% of people who live and work in Texas stay in Texas when they retire. And those retirement dollars that we're sending out on behalf of Hood County every month are being put right back into this local economy. Okay? So let's look at your plan of benefits. Again, I just said this, your employees deposit 7% of their pay every pay period, matched at retirement at 250% or $2.50 for every dollar that they've saved over the course of their career. Vesting, your employees need to work 5 years to earn the right to retire. Now, once they've earned the right to retire, that means that when they become eligible, they'll get to retire and earn that employer matching dollars. If they don't do that, they don't get the matching dollars. Vesting in our system is different than like a 401k. In a 401k, if a person is vested and they leave and they withdraw their money, it depends on how many years of service they worked. They might get to take some of those employer matching dollars. In a defined benefit plan or a pension plan, they can't do that. If they withdraw, they get to take out their money and the interest that they've earned only, no matching dollars. So that 5 years is the foundation of the time they must spend with the county. After that, they have to become age eligible they have to become age eligible in order to retire. So what does that look? If they become age 60 and they've had 5 years of service, they're eligible to retire. If they have worked a certain number of years and their age equals 75, they're eligible to retire. And if they've worked 20 years and they're any age, they're eligible to retire. Now, in our system, there's no penalty for retiring under the age of 60. It just means the benefit's going to have to last longer time, so it's going to be a lower benefits, so because it's going to have to pay over more years. And then the final benefit that you have is group term life, and that's for active employees. This is a benefit that you all fund 100%, and if someone passes away while they're actively working, their benefit is 1 times their annual salary. So this is your benefit package with TCDRS. So go ahead and flip slides. Now we're going to talk about how do you pay for those benefits. Like I said, we receive $0 from the state. We're funded by investment earnings. Every dollar of that $2.4 billion that we pay out on behalf of our employers, 74 cents comes from our investment earnings, 15 cents from employer contributions, and 11 cents from our own contributions into the plan. Investment earnings is really important to TCDRS. We have a diversified portfolio across asset classes, within asset classes, and if you're interested in learning more about that, give me a call, give Erica a call, go to our website, click on investments. You can click on each asset class. It'll drill in, show you returns, managers, benchmarks, and a lot of information. Our annualized returns are right here. We are long-term investors, so we don't look in any given year. We know there's going to be volatility every year. We're looking into the future. Average employee works for 20, 25 years and is retired for 20, 25 years. So we're looking 20, 35, 40 years down the road. Everyone calls this our EKG chart. It's an interesting chart. It shows our returns from 2004 through 2023. In the middle, you see the gray band. That is our risk tolerance. So at TCDRS, we're trying to achieve 7.5% every year. But again, we know in any given year there's going to be volatility. So if we can land within that gray band, that risk tolerance, our investments are doing exactly as we expect them to do. Now, there's been a couple of years where there's been an outlier. We're still talking about 2008, believe it or not, all these years later. It was an extraordinary year where the market just, the bottom fell out. At TCDRS, we had a minus 29% return. And then the subsequent year, 2009, we had a positive 26.5% return. So those are the two real outliers. Other than that, you know, things have really done exactly as we expected. 2022, we had a great year, and then, 2021, we had a great year. 2022 was kind of a rough year. 2023, we estimated 10.5%. We actually ended up at 11.1%. So what does that do? That allows us to build a reserve for a rainy day and also pass through extra earnings to our employers when that happens. Our board meets quarterly, and they decide what to do with those extra earnings. In 2008, and this is the last time I'm going to mention it, we used over $2 billion of our reserves to offset those losses, to mitigate them so that in the following years, your rate did not spike to a really high level that would force a change in benefits. And we are back at that level. We have over $2 billion in reserves again. We thought we'd never get there, but we are, so that's the good news. So what is a rate? I talk about rates. Rate is a percent of payroll that you all pay to fund your package of benefits. And like I said, every year our actuaries study your workforce, they value those benefits in the future, they bring them back to today's dollars, and they determine a rate, or that percent of payroll, that will adequately fund your current employees' future benefits. So let's look at what those rates are. For 2025, your rate or your percent of payroll will be 9.91%. Your rate does two things: investing in your current employees' future benefits. It's also funding your plan within a closed 20-year amortization period. And this is, I'm going to talk a little bit on this side about why rates change. Currently in 2024, your rate is 9.61%, but this court has historically passed elected rates and additional employer contributions or lump sums into the plan. Your current elected rate in this plan is 9.91%, so you're paying a little bit more than you have to. Last year, you all sent in $1.5 million in additional contribution to up your funding. That leaves you with a 2025 rate of 9.91, which actually is equal to your elected rate, so your elected rate isn't in effect anymore. You're going to pay that required rate, which is 9.91%, and currently you're 9.97% funded. So what does that mean? I know last year when you were looking at paying that additional contribution, getting to 100% funded, basically 99.7 is pretty close to full funded. When our actuaries look at your plan, we also look at plan experience. What happened at the local level? And on this slide, under demographics and other changes, you all had a rate increasing effect of 0.33%. And that came from what happened with your employees within the county. Did salaries not increase as much as our actuaries had assumed? Did more people retire? Did people terminate and not withdraw our money? Did people separate work and retire, and then when you all hired, you'd hired people at a different or lower salary? So those things are taken into effect, and we don't have control of this. You all don't either. That's human nature, and that moves every year. So you know, you see little rolling hills in your rates, not the peaks and valleys. Okay? So what ways can you keep rates stable? Well, again, Hood County, with the help of you all, Commissioners Court and Melissa's office, you all really look at this plan and look at it every year. You have historically done elected rates, which helps keep rates stable. Additional contributions help keep rates stable. And you're not changing benefits a lot. So that all helps keep rates stable. At TCDRS, we also have things that we do when we have losses or gains from any given year in investments. We smooth those over 5 years. So we recognize a fifth at a time. And again, that helps keep rates stable. We use reserves when we need to, and our board historically passes through extra earnings when we make more than what we expect. Okay? Again, flexibility, local control. This just shows you where you are on this scale. It shows if times got tough, how you could reduce benefits to have an immediate cost savings. Go ahead, next slide. So what's next? We've studied your plan, your rate information is out. I'm here talking to you. We have a conference in July. I invite all of you to come. It's a day and a half. It's great information. CE credits for commissioners. Sorry, Judge, we can't get CE for y'all. They just don't approve it. And it's a pretty fun time. You learn more about TCDRS and also pension plans as a whole. And then if you make any changes to your plan or do any additional funding, increase that elected rate or do another additional contribution, we will need to know about that by December 15th to have the paperwork signed. And then any additional contribution would have to be at our office by December 31st. All right? And there's our conference. And at this time, I'm happy to open it up to questions.
Thank you very much. That was a very comprehensive presentation. Appreciate all that y'all do. I'm sure our employees do as well. Does anybody have any questions? If not, thank you very much for coming down and sharing this information with us.
You bet. It was my
Thank
pleasure. You bet. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next item is presentation of certificate of appreciation to Constable John Shirley from the citizens of Precinct 2. And we've got some people that are wanting to speak on this. Number one is Alex Wolf.
I'd like to ask John Shirley to come to the mic as well.
Good morning. My name's Alex Wolf. I moved to Granbury about 10 years ago from Fort Worth. And moving from Fort Worth to Granbury was one of the best decisions I ever got to make for my family. I went from not knowing my neighbors to having them on speed dial. And furthermore, I've gotten to know my city council members, my excellent commissioner, and of course, our Constable John Shirley. John is not just a constable, he is an integral part of our community. He actively participates in local events and engages with residents to understand and address our concerns. He keeps us up to date with town halls, social media, and even picks up the phone when I call. His commitment to serving and protecting us has been nothing short of exemplary. John Shirley serves our community with integrity and care. He upholds the law with compassion and wisdom. Constable John Shirley has shown unwavering dedication to our community, consistently going above and beyond to ensure our safety and well-being. Thank you, John, for your service, dedication, and the positive example you set for all of us. I'm proud to have you as my constable. Thank you, Court.
Next speaker is John Highsmith.
John, would you, I have a mail-in. Thomas Mead, who is the current past president of Pecan Plantation and also a resident of Pecan Plantation, couldn't be here today because he's also serves on our EMS group there in Pecan, so he's on duty today. He asked me to read this. Having recently retired from the presidency of Pecan Plantation Country Club and Owners Association, I've gotten to know John Shirley and have observed his devotion to serving his community firsthand. Those who live within the gates of Pecan know that emotions can get stirred up and social media can get used to fan the flames when some issues are faced by the board. John has always kept up with the pulse of his community and stepped up without asking. When committee and board meetings address volatile subjects and mutiny was abound, John would make sure either he or his deputy were present to assure peace and safety to our community. John has always listened to those within our community and has taken action when needed or provided simple answers when appropriate. He is without a doubt that anything asked of John has never fallen on deaf ears. John has always done what is right and not what is popular, and has taken the stones cast upon him, knowing there is refuge in truth, and for this we say thank you and well done. Now, speaking for myself as a resident of Pecan Plantation and not a representative of any other than myself, John, thanks. Your presence in this community has made a difference. You follow up on concerns of those you serve with the tenacity of a bulldog. Your experience with dealing with people with autism, communication disabilities, and other differences shows your compassion and judgment and should set a benchmark for others to follow. Your dedication to finding facts before forming opinions shows you seek truth and justice for those you serve, and fairness even for those who are on the wrong side of the law. You understand the laws you are sworn to uphold, as well as your duty of due diligence and the accused rights of due process. There is always more to the story, and you are always willing to read to the end, and you serve without bias, prejudice, or agendas. Having spent over 3 decades as a public service, I have drank a lot of coffee with LEOs in the wee hours of the morning following a murder, tragic accident, or just a false alarm. While that is a different time in a different county with a different culture, I will always enjoy your camaraderie and enjoy a cup of Costa Rican coffee anytime and anywhere. Again, there is much more I can say, but most important is thank you. Thomas Meade.
John Highsmith, you're the next speaker.
John, I'd like to present you with this plaque. I'll read what it says on the plaque. It says, presented to Constable John Shirley in appreciation of his dedication and exemplary service to all Precinct 2 residents, 2024. And I just wanted to add this also. So whenever I have had conversations with people about you, a certain phrase comes up. And it's amazing, it comes up, seems like every time. And that phrase is above and beyond. So with that, we in Precinct 2, we want to show our appreciation to you and on this day, of May 28th, 2024. Thank you very much.
Anyone who's in Precinct 2, if you'd like to come up and
We've got 2 more people
get in the
here.
picture.
2 more people. Mayberry, I don't know what your first name is. And Clint Helton, you're next.
All right. Everyone else has kind of stole my fire, so this will be a lot shorter. Good morning, court and judge. My name is Craig Mayberry, and my wife and I, we have lived in Hood County now for 14 years, and we have seen a lot of changes, most of them very positive, I must say. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself and as the newly elected precinct chair of 202, speaking on behalf of many of my constituents. And just want to give kudos to John Shirley for going above and beyond duty in every way imaginable. Spends tirelessly, has been spending true heartfelt convictions in serving the people of Granbury and of Hood County. Everything from the smallest things, such as helping children cross the street to get to school, to a current endeavor of engaging with a rather large technocratic giant that has had an impact on our community. And again, with what everyone else has said, he has just committed himself nonstop, day and night, as you said, above and beyond duty for the folks here in Granbury and for Hood County. For that, we thank you.
Clint Helton here?
Hi, my name's Clint Helton, and my wife and I have been residents in Pecan Plantation since 2005. We're residents of also Hood County Precinct 2. John Shirley has been our constable for the last several years. And I just wanted to say on 3 occasions, Constable Shirley has helped me with issues aligned with his duties as a constable. In my experience, Constable Shirley has been just a phone call away. During the primary campaign season this year, I knocked hundreds of doors in Pecan Plantation, campaigning and promoting John Shirley and others for election, in his case, Constable Shirley's case, re-election. During that time, there were so many people where I wouldn't have to say anything to promote John Shirley. They would just stop me and say, hey, John Shirley's a great guy, he helped us, he's got our vote. And I just wanted to say that that others told me that how John, outside of that context, John Shirley told me how many times John Shirley helped them in their time of need and all hours of the day or night, once staying virtually all night at someone's home to help them. John Shirley's service as a constable also serves double as his campaign strategy. And I just wanted to also tell you that John is readily available, Constable Shirley is readily available to help. He's a tireless and faithful servant of the people, and Precinct 2 is very blessed to have Constable Shirley as our Precinct 2 constable. Thank you.
Any of the residents in Precinct 2 would want to come up and get in the picture, come on up. Don't be shy. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for serving. Thanks, John. You're great.
You're great. So Josh, your the one he gets. Yeah, Tanner. Yep. Okay. Number 7. Okay, the next presentation, we got a bunch of these this morning, is proclamation to honor Joshua Tanner Green. This is going to be Commissioner Jack Wilson, who saw this and can explain to us. Is Joshua Tanner Green here today?
Come on down, please.
Come on down.
This is an official proclamation honoring Joshua Tanner Green, firefighter, paramedic, Irving Fire Department. Whereas on Friday, March 29, 2024, Mr. Tanner Green was traveling north towards Weatherford. Mr. Green came upon a wreck and began to slow down. He discovered that there was a rather serious wreck involving a motorcycle. Several people had stopped and were talking with the injured rider. An unknown gentleman was holding pressure on the injured man's thigh as Mr. Tanner Green walked up, and he noticed that the bleeding was severe. And whereas Mr. Tanner Green ran back to his truck to grab a tourniquet. After all his years of being a combat medic from October 2009 to November 2017, with 2 tours in Afghanistan, and now a firefighter paramedic, he always keeps a tourniquet handy. After applying the tourniquet, he began to assess the patient as good as he could with no other resources. Several people had stopped and were helping Mr. Green, then borrowed a phone from a lady and took to look at the patient's pupils. After firefighters and EMS arrived on scene, Mr. Green notified the paramedic of the tourniquet placement and exam findings. He continued to assist in further treatment and helped with patient packaging in the movement to the ambulance until the helicopter arrived to transport. And whereas emergency room doctors stated that had Mr. Tanner Green not stopped and placed the tourniquet on the victim, he would have bled to death of his injuries on scene. Now, therefore, I, Jack Wilson, Commissioner of Precinct 3, along with all the members of the Commissioners Court of Hood County, do hereby recognize and congratulate Mr. Joshua Tanner Green for his heroic life-saving efforts that saved the victim's life. Further, I urge all citizens of Hood County to join me in recognizing Mr. Joshua Tanner Green as he continues to serve the citizens of Hood County, Irving Fire Department, and ongoing service as a member of the Texas Army National Guard assigned to the Texas Medical Detachment 1 in Grand Prairie as a combat medic. Adopted this 28th day of May, 2024, signed by the judge and all 4 commissioners. Thank you. Thank you.
Very much, sir. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Boy, that's an exceptional service, I'll tell you that. Thank you very much. Okay, next we got another important award. Recognize Sarah Marcantonio as the 2024 Texas UIL 2A State Champion in Editorial Writing. Miss,
let me do a little turn on my mic there. Yeah, this you know, you look around in the world today at the stuff that's going on these college campuses and everything, and it's easy to lose heart in some of the young folks. Let me tell you, this young lady here is absolutely exceptional. And, you know, it's easy for us to come up here and make proclamations and honor the basketball championships and those kind of things. We enjoy doing that. But, you know, we also want to focus on those individuals that excel academically. And Sarah is just an amazing kid. And on the field as well. She was also, all-state academic. She was utility player of the year. Just an all-around great young lady. And just wanted to take a moment and recognize her accomplishment of winning the state championship for UIL editorial writing. And as a side note, she's got 2 medals on today. She placed second in the team feature writing for the UIL by herself. So that's anyway, Sarah, come on up and everybody come down. You know, I got to tell this story. This other story here too. During COVID, her parents, Franco and Susanna there, own the bakery up in La Pan, the Mark Antonio's Bakery for the shameless plug there. And the softball field did not have a scoreboard. So they had ordered a scoreboard, and during the time of COVID, everything just got a mess. They lost a scoreboard. It was gone for months. Nobody knew where this scoreboard was. Well, all of a sudden it shows up. So they get this thing installed. Mark Antonio's Bakery there on the scoreboard. In the very first game that they used that, Sarah was a leadoff batter. They had shut out the other team for the first inning. Sarah hit a solo home run and put the first point on that scoreboard. So that's just a great little story that I like to yeah, no, that was, could have led there. So anyway, we're going to give this, the Hood County Commissioners Court wishes to recognize the achievement of Sarah Mark Antonio as the Texas UIL 2A editorial writing state champion. Your hard work, determination, and exceptional talent have set a high standard of excellence. We, the Commissioners Court of Hood County, are proud to acknowledge your accomplishments and wish you continued success in your future endeavors. Presented at Commissioners Court on this day, 28th day of May, 2024. Congratulations. Get around the podium there.
You were going to pose it That'd be good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all of the special presentations. Now for the service awards. Shayla Satterfield, 5 years.
Thank you for all you do for us out there. She specializes in a lot of things, too. She does great at everything she does. One day I came in out there, and she had a snake wrapped around her arm, so we take care of all animals out there, so congratulations on your 5 years. Here's something for you. Around for it. Thank you.
Okay, next is Jason Fraun, 15 years.
Yes, sir. Mr. Fraun is working this morning out on the roads and making sure everything is taken care of.
Okay, well, let's make sure he gets his pin then. Okay, good deal. All right, now this brings us to the citizens' comments at large, and we have 3 people that have signed up to speak, and the first one is somebody that we recognize as Crystal Moore. Miss Moore.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. I'm Crystal Moore with United Way of Hood County, and we are working together with all of the nonprofits, the social services agencies here in town to provide an immersive experience called Walk the Line. It is basically a month in the life of a family that lives right on or right below the poverty line. Guests are invited to come in and sit at a table, and at that table they will spend 15 minutes for 1 week and live in the life of that family and need to get through all of the month paying their bills, getting their medication, their groceries, all of that with the money and jobs that they have. What makes this experience unique is that we have completely rewritten it to be very specific to Hood County. In that, we've brought all of the nonprofits in so that we want people to see how we all work together, how if a family has to choose between medication and an electric bill, they can get both covered with our nonprofit partners. There are also partners that people don't realize that that do services without anyone recognizing. If we have a homeless person that needs to take a shower because they have a job interview, they're excited, they've got a job interview, we've got them clothes, but they need a place to shower and get ready. Well, we can call over to the YMCA, and the YMCA gives us a place for them to get ready and shower. And so that's not a normal nonprofit that you think of like Mission Granbury or Ruth's Place that comes in and helps. But we've got about 26 partners coming into this event, and it's going to be, I think, very eye-opening. Hopefully it allows the guests to find empathy for the people and not judgment. Just seeing how it can take one flat tire for a family to be able to not buy groceries that week. So yeah, we would just like to invite all of you to come and experience this.
Good deal.
Are there any questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, when is this?
It's June 4th at the Conference Center.
Ford Conference Center.
And I put a card by each of your,
Oh, that, oh.
there you go.
Right here, yeah. Walk the line.
Walk the line.
Okay, good to see you. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. Okay, the next speaker is J.C. Lopez.
Sticks really far out there. All right, good morning, everyone. These last several days have been long and exciting, but so important at the state convention, the Republican Party of Texas State Convention, to help represent our county and help shape our Republican Party for the next 2 years and beyond in Texas. We have all made sacrifices, many of us who went down there, to be there and to be part of the process. However, some of our dedicated elected officials have made extra sacrifices. Dave, Kevin, and Annette, and Karen and Melanie have all been on the receiving end of some heat over the last few days. The hospital district voted on a tax while 3 of the commissioner members were serving our county in San Antonio. There was a request made to move the meeting, the hospital district tax meeting, to the regular last Friday of the month time. The request was inexplicably declined by President Massey. In the last news article from the April meeting, the Hood County newspaper had announced that the next meeting would be on May 31st, when that meeting is always the last Friday of the month. This is how I understand it. But this time it wasn't. So I would just like to come up here and thank the commissioners that did go down to that convention. Thank you for going down there and representing the Republicans of Hood County and being part of that process. And also thank you to Karen Lowry and Melanie Graft for going down there and being part of that process also. It's vital, it's important to shape the legislative priorities, to shape the Texas, just the platform, and just wanted to say thank you guys for making that sacrifice and doing that. That means a lot to me and my family and many of us here in Hood County.
Thank you. Next is Harold Raddick. Dr. Raddick, pass. Okay. Now, I'm going to remind everybody that if you want to speak on an agenda item, you must fill out a public participation form, turn it into the sheriff. The sheriff will turn it into the county clerk, and it must be filled out prior to the time that the item is called. So the first item is discuss and take appropriate action to allow the county judge to sign the continued support document allowing Texas A&M AgriLife Extension to move forward with the hiring process to fill the vacant position. Ms. Hannah, how are you?
Good morning. How are you? So as you guys know, Warner Seidel was our Ag and Natural Resources agent up until Friday. So his last day was Friday. He's moved on, taken a position in Nueces County, closer to home. We're very happy for him, but that leaves our office with a vacancy. And so what I have for you to sign, Judge, is just a document saying that Hood County will continue to support that position. And then we're able to post that and start hopefully trying to hire somebody so Leanne and I aren't by ourselves anymore. But do you guys have any questions?
Okay. Yes. We've continued to do this throughout. We've had some changes here. You must be awful hard on these men that come up here, because this is a third change that we've made in a while. But
yes, in my 3 years.
That's right. And, well, I wish we'd cut these guys some slack.
I know.
I kind of thought you were going to say, Leanne, and you were going to have to start retraining a new one.
Well, we're going to have to do that also.
We're glad you're staying.
Thank
but
you.
It's very inexpensive. The support is just, this must be a misprint on here.
No, so the way that our positions work is you guys fund a portion of our salary, and then Texas A&M AgriLife Extension funds the other portion. So that is just the portion that Hood County supports.
This is the portion here of $18,130,
correct? Yes.
Okay, all right. So based upon that, do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion to allow Texas A&M AgriLife Extension to move forward with the hiring process to fill the vacant position.
Second. Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to continue the support of the county extension agent for the remainder of the year 2024, contributing $18,130 towards the salary of this position, correct? Yes. Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Treat this guy a little bit better, will you?
Yeah, we'll take care of him. Make sure he sticks around.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming down. All right. Second item, discuss and take appropriate action to allocate storage space for constables' equipment and trailers. Constable Chad Jordan, I think I've seen you around before.
Once or
Yeah.
twice, Judge.
Yes. Okay.
Gentlemen, we've talked about it for years. Ever since we had the disaster happen in Rancho Brazos years ago, the constables, we started looking at different things we could do to help. And one of the things we started doing were, what are the things we were missing? Were equipment needs. And being part of the Texas LISO program through DPS, the state of Texas, and the military, there are surplus properties that we've obtained over the years. And to give just a brief idea of some of them, so you know what I'm talking about, we've got tool kits. Some of these tool kits that we obtained for our vehicles and the offices are valued at around $4,000 a piece. We got them for free. The sad part was they were condemned, but when we get them, we find out they're brand new, never been used. So there's all types of equipment we've obtained over the years. We have rope replenishing kits, 10 spools. We have a mobile command tent, portable light sets, 2 small diesel generators, 1 large diesel generator, small compressor, large diesel air compressor, 2 Kubota RTV 900 UTVs, 1 Polaris Ranger UTV, canopies, spare trailer tires, extra UTV tires, pulley systems. So over time, as some of these things have progressed, and plus we have 5 trailers currently, we're downsizing down to 3 since we got 2 new ones to try and save some space. We've been storing stuff in these trailers, but we're getting to the point where we can't work on the items that we have. We've been asking for storage space. Where can we find places in the county that are being utilized? And after discussing with commissioners, other people, trying to find space, Commissioner Samuelson thought, we just need to bring this up and talk about it as a group, as a whole, and to find out what we need to do with trying to find a place to store these items, to help the constables' offices, and that's why I bring it to you to discuss those things. We've looked at different ideas. We've come up with things. We looked at probably, things that aren't being utilized, we thought weren't being utilized from the pictures and the things that we've taken and seen around in the county, and bring it before the court.
So Constable Jordan reached out, probably over a month ago or more. And I went out with Leland, our new building maintenance director, a few weeks ago to just look around at what storage the county has and what is available. Unfortunately, he was very new to his job, as you guys know, so he didn't have keys to everything. So we were not able to look at all of the available storage. So Constable Jordan and Constable Shirley are both here, so I don't know how much space you need, like square foot wise, or you want most of it covered or all of it covered?
We'd love to have all of it covered. One of the things we're looking for now are pallet racks to store these items, to protect them. Doesn't even take into account the car seats on the grants that we try and get for the car seat program, child safety seats, because we don't have a place to store them. So we've kind of been unavailable to find a place for that also.
Well, is there anybody have any ideas of where there's any available storage space?
I've got excuse me.
So a question I've got is, so what do you have, excuse me, in mind, like 20 feet by 40 feet, like a 10 by 15 storage place?
10 by 15
25 by
small. I mean, we're looking like, 30 30 by 40, you know.
Okay, about 1,200 square feet. Okay.
Minimum.
There is something, we weren't able to go in, but we did look through the windows at the road ops building on Ray Road, and there does look to be some space in there, as well as outside there's a covered area. It's not totally enclosed, but there is a covered area. Now, there is some equipment in there, and some signs,
Yeah, there's
for like
two
road
marquee
closure.
signs, a small 6x8 trailer that's backed in there. And other than that, that county barn, since we went to centralized, is not utilized for offices anymore. There's offices there and storage space available, but we haven't heard anything back on that.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have been out there lately, Mr. Linney, to see if any of that space could be used by the constables.
Well, at the time when Constable Jordan went out there, we had just taken our equipment out of there that we keep in during the wintertime. So, but yeah, right now it's open until we finish up the season, and we have to have a place to store the equipment that we use during the summer.
So when your winter equipment comes back, are you putting it back in?
Yes, sir.
Well, after you put your winter equipment back in that place, how much room do you have left over?
It's full.
It's full?
So the equipment now is just outside,
Yes.
ready to be used,
It's-
out
yeah,
at your
yeah,
place down on
that's Central
377?
Barn, getting ready to, yeah.
Is there any other, does anybody know any other?
I had went out to the old Precinct 4 barn that's located on Bandy, just off 51 North. Now, that one we don't use it whatsoever.
How big is it?
It's covered sheds. It's about 5 or 6 bays. And then the older part's we just stockpile our materials there now.
Okay.
It's nothing enclosed there. Everything's open to the elements. It's just covered portion, just like what they have the tractors and everything parked in, and all the dump trucks and everything else parked in all the time at Central Road Ops. Everything's covered, but it's a lot smaller area.
The covered area at 51 is smaller, is what you're saying? It's not, is the area not big enough if it were to be enclosed? Is that what you're saying?
For the equipment we have, it's exposed to being stolen and people could see it. So for that reason, it would not be.
No, I'm saying if we put walls up around it, is the facility big enough? If we enclosed it?
Couldn't answer that. From what I've seen on some parts of it, I can't answer that. I mean, it's just nothing but wood frame and tin on 3 sides.
So
As in like wavy tin, and that's it.
Where's the equipment now? Sorry.
We have it at the sheriff's office and in the impound, inside trailers, and spread out in there, taking up space. And it's getting more and more congested in there, as the sheriff can attest. One of the things the sheriff did is they bought a new container because they're trying to find places to store their equipment. So they had funds to buy a shipping container to store things in. We don't have those funds. We found a shipping container, but we couldn't find anybody in the county to help us go pick up a free shipping container from the military down at Fort Hood. So
If you had a shipping container, I mean, there's a lot of space out there on Ray Road in that old precinct lot. I mean, would it be able to fit there if you had a shipping?
if we had 2 of them to store the UTVs, because those are items that be seen outside that would be stolen.
Unless do you use that area for any laydown of materials out on Ray Road? So right now, there were some piles out there, but there was.
I think there's room at the back
Okay.
part of it, yeah.
Well, how much are these storage containers? It looks like you're not going to have any space when you put the winter equipment back in. What are we going to do? What is storage, purchasing these big storage containers? Is that the simplest?
Excuse me, a 40-footer runs about $6,500, and that's the big shipping container you see that comes in on ships, and then they put them on the back of a flatbed delivery type of truck. But those are about $6,500 a piece, and they're 40 feet by 8 feet wide, and they're totally enclosed, then you can get one-timers for maybe another 1,000 that's only been used once. They're actually really nice, because I've looked at them myself. So that may be a potential if there's room on the ground somewhere.
I can get, having bought 22 of those in the past, I can probably meet that price, without question. But, I think we need to look at that. The key first item of need is where we're going to put them if we get them. Now, will you be better served with a 40-footer or two 20s, or possibly even three 20s, side by side? Because you can butt those things up, real close.
Absolutely.
So that would be, I would suggest possibly, two, maybe three 20s, and that will give you, because they're 8 foot wide, as you said, and they're 8'6" on the inside height, so that would be something that we can look at. If we figure out where we're going to place them, then, finding the containers at a decent price, and one trippers for what you're looking for is probably the better way to go than, some of them that have been through several times.
I think it's an excellent idea to look at that. And during the summertime, having the ability to work inside on some of the equipment that we have at the Precinct 3 would be great also. And then the wintertime, he can use it back for storage and things go back inside a storage container would be awesome.
Yeah, the 20-footers I've looked at are about 3,500 delivered. Perhaps Commissioner Wilson can find a better deal on that one too, but that's not a bad price for two. You're still looking at $7,000, $8,000 for 40 foot worth of storage. But again, the ground space, I would think we got that somewhere.
Yeah, there's 2.5 acres there at the precinct, at that
On
property.
Ray Road, yeah. I mean, that road goes, Mr. Lenny, does that road go all the way back?
The property does,
The property
yes.
does, yeah.
Kinda
So
makes
it's a long way back there, so you could store some containers there. Mr. Tillman probably is looking, wait a minute, we need to look at
That's something we
purchasing
need
to
to put on the
see.
agenda to come back and discuss. I think that'd be great and get some quotes together on that.
Yeah.
I would suggest at this point, based on the conversation, we table this at this point. We go do some research and get some prices. I think we've identified, places we can put those containers and see what we can get the best value for the dollar.
I think that'd be awesome.
I agree.
Sounds
I'll
like a good
second
idea.
that. Second that motion.
We have a motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to table item number 2 about the storage space for the constable's equipment and trailers, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank
It's
you.
tabled. We'll do some research. All right, item number 3, discuss and take appropriate action to allocate up to $5,000 per year to the Brazos Valley Soil and Water Conservation District, $10,000 for a total of 2023 and 2024 for past costs associated with easement enforcement, O&M inspections, maintenance, and land treatment measures for 2 USDA NRS flood control dams located in Hood County. Let me see who, we have some speakers on that, on number
I have
3.
a few questions about this.
Yeah, this is something we've done is it every 2 years that we do this? So this is just renewing what we do every 2 years on these 2 particular locations, and it's just allocation of funds for them to help clear those flood areas around those bridges.
Well, the agenda states that it's Brazos Valley Soil and Water Conservation District, but the agreement is between Hood-Parker Soil and Water Conservation District, and both of them are very old. The agreements state that there are to be records of inspections and maintenance work. I haven't seen anything to support that that's been done. I don't know if they're sent to the judge or where that information is. The agreements are very old: Ruckers Creek, 1966, Paluxy River, 1971. And the expenses are estimated at $154 per year for the Rutgers and $154 per year for Paluxy. Have there been any updates to the agreement with an assignment clause that assigns it over to Brazos Valley Soil and Water? Are there records of the maintenance work that's been done? I'm not aware, has this been budgeted? I'm not sure where this money is in the budget.
This would probably have to come out of 55.
Okay, so if we do it every year, or every 2 years, it wasn't budgeted, and I've forwarded to Attorney Mills and Alan Quine, and they have not reviewed these agreements, so, I mean, I don't know that, like I said, the agreement is with Brazos Valley Soil and Water, but you're asking the payment to be made to, the agenda states Brazos Valley Soil and Water, but the agreement is Hood-Parker Soil and Water. I also reached out to Erath County because they were mentioned in these agreements to ask them how they handle this, and I haven't heard back from them yet, but at the point I asked, they weren't familiar with it. I'd just like some data to support the payment, inspections, maintenance reports, et cetera.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Eagle. This is what we've always done. I think it's something that we need to do. And
well, this is usually brought to us by Larry Wilkins with First National, who I know personally as well. Sorry he's not here today to answer these questions. Perhaps. Does this have to be done today, I guess is the question. Then we can get him in here next time so he can answer Commissioner Samuelson's questions. I'm just saying, asking this rhetorically, I guess.
I don't know if this is the one that was July or if that was another one I was looking at that was July. I mean, I don't, if you ask me, I don't think it has to be done today because it's not even in the budget, so I will make a motion to table this until we can get further information on whether this has been, maybe there was an assignment agreement and we just don't have it. Assignment agreement and also records, annual records that were to be of inspections and maintenance reports.
okay, a motion.
Yeah, I'll second that.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Samuelson to table the Brazos Valley Soil and Water Conservation District request, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries, so we will table this and get some further information. This brings us to item 4, discuss and take appropriate action to light the exterior of the historic courthouse purple for the month of June in recognition of Elder Abuse Awareness Month. I guess that lady, is anybody here?
He was here when he left.
I guess she left here. Leland, is he still here?
He just left.
He just left. I don't know if that's, we always do that. I don't know if we have I don't know if we have any purple up there. I mean, if it were orange, Cotton, you could do that for us. I don't, yeah, but purple, I don't know if you can or not.
They had the lights last year. I think we did this.
Did we do it
this
last year?
Mm-hmm. They put the lights up.
Well, I think we should go ahead and do it. This is a good deal, so do I hear a motion? Let's go ahead and do it.
I'll make a motion to light the exterior of the historic courthouse purple for the month of June in recognition of Elder Abuse Awareness Month.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made by Commissioner Samuelson to light the exterior of the historic courthouse purple for the month of June in recognition of Elder Abuse Awareness Month, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Item number 5, consider and take appropriate action to move a jailer SP $46,000 to jailer step 3 $50,500 effective Tuesday, May 28, 2024. Jailer has 6 years of previous experience. Sheriff and Eric.
Good morning, how are y'all? Number 5 and 6 is going to be similar, same situation. One jailer has, for number 5, 6 years of experience. She came over from Johnson County and wanted to bring her on. She's, again, has the experience, and I want to award that for her to join our team, and hoping to bring her in a little bit higher step than the starting pay for someone who doesn't have any experience.
Yeah, I think that the transfer, or what do you call that, a lateral transfer?
A lateral
or
transfer.
whatever.
It's
Yeah,
not
I think
as
that's
high.
a very.
I mean, as a mass requesting for a step 3. It's not at a step 5 or anything higher than that. So I think it's manageable. And I know talking to the auditor, the funds are there to be able to do this. So
Yeah, I'm in favor of that, because it's, bringing in people with experience that are going to, I know we have a lot of folks wash out coming through there thinking this is the job for them, and they get into training and find out it's not.
For
So
sure.
having somebody
And we've
with
experienced that
experience
lately with
yeah.
and new individuals coming in that don't have the experience. They don't stick around because it's not for them. So it's good to have those that do have experience, because they know the job, they know what to do, and they can mentor and teach those new ones that come in that don't know anything. So you really want that experience to come into your jails to keep your liability down. There's a lot of benefits to it, so, and they should be
They know what to
compensated for that.
expect.
Yeah.
They know what to expect.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Sheriff, you agree with that, don't you? Y'all still down on jailers, don't you? Y'all need more jailers.
Yeah,
too,
we're
don't
still
you?
down and still trying to get ahead, and if we can get these guys, they know what to expect, they know what they're doing, we should be able to keep them as long as we can pay them a decent wage.
Both of them already got their own credentials and certifications, correct?
Yes.
Good.
They won't have to go to jail school, so that cost is not going to be, we won't have to deal with that, so
Okay.
they're already licensed and ready to go.
Okay, well, let's take them one at a time. So let's take number 5 first. I need a motion.
Yes, I move that we approve the appropriate action to move a jailer SP from $46,000 to jailer step 3, $50,500 effective Tuesday, May 28, 2024. This particular individual has 6 years of previous experience.
Second.
Yeah, motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to move a jailer from $46,000 to step 3, $50,500 effective May 28th, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right, the next item, do I hear a motion?
Again, I move that we approve the action to move a jailer SP $46,000 to jailer step 3, $50,500 effective Tuesday, May 28, 2024. This particular jailer has 12 years of previous experience.
Second.
Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to move a jailer SP $46,000, jailer step 3, $50,500 effective Tuesday, May 28, 2024. Jailer has 12 years of previous experience, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Got you 2 new jailers.
Perfect. Thank you all very
Good
much.
luck.
I appreciate
Thank you.
that. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, item number 7, discuss and take appropriate action to approve a resolution calling on the Hood Central Appraisal District to hire a third-party forensic audit firm to conduct a forensic audit on the prior 4 fiscal years and delivering said audit to the taxing entities. We got some speakers lined up on that. Do you want to speak on it first?
Yes, please. Thank you, Judge. So as many of you may recall, last summer and into the fall, there were a lot of questions around the appraisal district budget and the funds that were being held in noncompliance with Tax Code 6.0 and the Texas law. This resulted in a refund of funds back to the taxing entities of over $2 million. It has since been discovered that the prior board of the appraisal district also misappropriated an additional $387,000 This additional expense occurred as the result of the Hood Central Appraisal District forming the Hood Central Appraisal District Home Office Corporation, appointing themselves as directors and seeking to borrow $6.2 million from Government Capital Corporation to build a new building. The $387,000 was then spent on architectural design and construction fees, including fees to appraise and survey the GISD-owned property that was being pursued as a swap for the existing HCAD office building. The HCAD Home Office Corporation formation documents and the bylaws are in direct conflict and contradict the requirements of the Texas Tax Code 6.0. Therefore, before I go any farther, I see Mayor Jarrett out in the audience. He has worked tirelessly on this project, and I want to thank him for that. And Judge, I'd like to request that we suspend the 5-minute time limit and allow Mayor Jarrett to update us on what has happened at City Council and the information that he's investigated.
Okay, the Commissioners Court can agree on this. Do I hear a motion? Or you just made a motion?
I'll second that.
Extend the 5-minute time limit, second by Commissioner Wilson. All those.
No, Eagle.
Eagle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. So Mayor Jarrett, you want to come up here and speak on this, please?
Judge, thank you. Actually, I was just delighted to come and turn this off.
Yeah. Should have a green light on it.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Court. I was just delighted to come and take the 5 minutes. The city only allows me 3, so I appreciate it. And actually, we did pass a similar ordinance this past week at the City Council, and some of the verbiage that Commissioner Samuelson used there is part of that reason. But one of the questions that I keep getting is, look, we've had an audit. We passed our audit. Everything is fine. Why do we need this forensic audit? And let me go back just a second. I want to say that this is not about persons, people. This is about process and procedures. The personnel over at the appraisal district have been more than generous in their time and effort in assembling information to, ask the questions that we have. But just let me, if I could, go through the 2022 audit from Snow, Garrett, and Williams, who've been auditing the appraisal district for almost 24 years. And only in 2022, after I'll call them the class of 2022, the new directors went in 2022, which the auditor changed at that point in time. I might add, too, that in 24 years, there have not been any problems with the audit that the appraisal district had. But when you go to an audit, the financial audit that they do in the independent report, it says responsibilities of management for the financial statements, and I'm reading directly from their document. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America, and for the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and I will say procedural error there. The key is that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements. The auditors come in and then just balance the books, if you will. And if you go to the audit here, in this year ending in 2022, the audit did report a fund balance of $2,040,000, $2,040,356. And that is in agreement with the amount that was subsequently determined to be withheld, but should have been automatically provided back to the entities. And it wasn't $2,040,000 that got returned, it was $1,980,000 something. Anyway, the remaining of that, the $132,000, is what led me down the next rabbit hole, which was, where did that go? And as Ms. Samuelson, Commissioner Samuelson said, that went to a architectural contract for design and build construction, or construction design of a building that subsequently was determined to cost about $6.2 million. But I want to get back to the audit here. So they reported the fund balance, and it's properly reported in the audit here. The thing is that the appraisal district can't have a fund balance. Any excess funds are to be returned to the entities, as we've learned. The amendments to the budget, in the audit, it says the amendments to the budget were additions to capital outlay for a new building. Well, if the appraisal district wants to make amendments as per tax code 6.0, then they come to the entities. You're an entity, we're an entity, school, Toller ISD, et cetera, are entities. They come to the entities and they have the amendment approved. There was never an amendment, so there was nothing approved. But the audit did not pick up on that because that's process and procedural. It's not balancing the funds. Number 4, additions of $1,472,000 were due to budgeted expenditures per capital outlay not occurring. The problem with that is when you look at the budget that you and I, or the appraisal district and the city, and that was presented by the appraisal district, the city and all the entities approved, the capital outlay budget is $210,000. So they have an addition of $1,472,000 to the fund balance, and say that it's not as a result of it not being spent makes no sense. Now, it may have made sense to the auditors because in an internal document that for the year-to-date 2022, it shows that there was budgeted $1,005,000 for capital outlay and building. Now, when Mr. Law was with us last week, we asked, and he, understand, he's only been there since September of this past year. So he has many of these same questions that we have, but we don't know. We don't know how the internal report jives with the audit, or how does it jive with the budget. So the last thing that I have here is that 387, as you mentioned, was paid out to architects for design and construction plans for a new HCAD office building. And this is taxpayer funds, not budgeted, but it's taxpayer money. And in a review, and I believe that review should be taken by a forensic auditor, in that review, if there are errors and omissions and the taxpayers are out funds, then we have recourse to our insurance company, and we can recover those funds. Otherwise, we're just paying them back to ourselves. So that's my 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So I do have some questions. So there's which I'm going to ask the county clerk to take this into the record. There's a lot of documents that are research that Mayor Jarrett has put together. One of them is about this government capital facility improvement financing. Could you speak about that?
It's a loan document that was presented to the appraisal district in February of 2023 and accepted apparently in May of 2023, when the appraisal district stepped back and said, we want to build a building. It's going to cost $6.2 million, and we're going to ask, we're going to borrow the money into the corporation, and then we'll pay it back out of the lease fees. It's a, you're going to have to get someone who has a different background than I have
Well,
to
it looks-
understand how all this works.
Yeah, it looks to me like it's a workaround, because it says that a CAD are unable to issue debt. So a CAD must utilize a lease structure to finance the acquisition and construction of their appraisal offices. So a nonprofit corporation is created, the holding company, to hold the fee, simple title, and then they would lease it, then the HCAD would lease it back. But looking through these documents, the holding company was the exact same, all the members of the board. So they created a home office corporation with all of the members of the appraisal district board as members of the holding company board, and then they were going to lease, the holding company was going to finance and build the building, buy the property, build the building, and then lease it back to themselves. I mean, there's two separate entities, but they were all the same people. Did I get that right?
Well, actually, the entities had appointed one group of people. When you set up the home office corporation, as it reads, they are no longer accountable to the CAD, as per the document that the corporation. Now, you note that never happened.
Okay.
I mean, that never happened. Yes, it was presented, it's never happened. And it is noted by the appraisal board people, or appraisal board directors currently, that the formation papers, the bylaws and all of that were never filed with the Secretary of State. They were filed with the county, but never filed with the Secretary of the State. And so, you know, the assumption is that they were never acting as a separate corporation. However, if you read the government capital proposal, it is made to the Hood County Home Office Corporation. And then you read the resolution to go get the dollars. I mean, it's the same document.
Okay.
So somebody somewhere thought that they were dealing with the corporation versus the Hood County Appraisal District, or Hood Central Appraisal District.
Hey, Commissioner.
I just have one.
Do we have any other speakers that may want to come up?
Got that.
Yeah.
We do have two
And
more
then
speakers. So
my suggestion is, if there's other speakers, maybe we listen to them, and then if we need the mayor to come back, we could do that. Is that okay?
Sure.
Eddie Rodriguez.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Eddie Rodriguez. I'm here just to talk about some of the things that you have talked about just now about the appraisal district. I am the chairman of the appraisal district board of directors. Just want to go over some of the things that was mentioned. You know, just like when any, you know, when you have a company that's been there for 24 years, things just kind of go normal. Especially with the audit. The premise around the audit for 24 years is let's get a new company, or let's take bids on a new audit firm to see if we can get better pricing, better competition, and a new fresh of eyes on the audit itself. That's the only reason we went with a different auditor. Not that Snow Garrett Williams was doing a bad job. We're just trying to save the taxpayers money, and we got a lower audit, doing the same amount of work, doing the same audit. So in retrospect, that was the reason for the new audit. You know, we've gone through this item multiple times. As you heard, the mayor has what has been referred to as a red book, and has a lot of documentation. But some of that documentation can't be validated. There's some documents in there that you don't know who it's addressed to, who it came from. So trying to put that document into a court system or anything like that, I don't know if it's going to be used as evidence. I don't know. Let's talk about all the budgets up until last year have been approved by all entities. Every budget has been presented to all the entities. All the budgets have been approved by all entities except for last year. Last year, you know, it was a circumstance where we had $2 million that was in our excess, what he says, in a fund balance, but they were all obligated. Those are obligated funds. Just like you have a Fund 55 that has a huge amount of excess funds, or if you want to say it's in Fund 55, so it's in Fund 55, it's been obligated. Y'all use it for expenses that are, you know, that y'all determine what y'all can use it for. I mean, if something surprisingly comes up, that's where y'all get your money from, is Fund 55. That's kind of like your savings account. The whole premise behind the previous board's idea of the Land and Building Fund was the anticipation to take some of the burden off the taxpayers when they decided they wanted to save for a new building or remodel and construction of the existing building. What they were trying to do is try to present the entities with information about this, which way to go. Kind of similar to what y'all are trying to do with the jail system. Y'all have no idea how much it's going to cost to build a new jail. If you don't have people telling you, this is what's going to take to move dirt, this is what's going to take for electrical, this is what's going to take for plumbing, this is what's going to take for land, so you get those preliminary costs. That way you understand the entire cost of a jail system. That's what the appraisal district was trying to do, is get those preliminary costs in front of the taxing entities. And in order to do that, you have to spend a little bit of money on architectural fees. The Home Office Corporation, let's talk about that. So the prior board established a Home Office Corporation. This was during the time where they're trying to navigate how to fund for a new building. They were in the process of brainstorming, how do we get the funding? If the funding costs $6 million, we can offset that with the money that we've already saved for $2 million. How do we get the remaining funding? What mechanism can we do, since the appraisal board of directors, the Hood Central Appraisal District is separate when it comes to the other governmental entities like the city or the Commissioner's Court or other entities. They can't just borrow money like y'all can, or like the city can, and take out bonds and everything like that. The Hood Central Appraisal District falls under different financial guidance and how they can get their funding. So they were brainstorming. They had a recommendation from legal counsel that they could probably start up a home office corporation. During that time, they were still having discussions, and documentations were established to start the home office corporation with legal advice. Now that document, or the state documents, were never filed. So in essence, that home office corporation is never in existence. That's just like any other entity trying to file for a corporation that never sends their documents to the state. Then they don't exist. You can't establish something if it doesn't exist, and you can't get rid of something that doesn't exist. Hopefully that makes sense. So we found that the documents were never properly given to the state. So that home office never existed. So what the board of directors did is rescinded all those documents, or all those meetings and all those minutes that took place under Home Office Corporation, because it never existed. So I'm just sitting here, I'm not sitting here as a lawyer, and I'm not sitting here as an auditor. I'm just here as the chairman of board of directors, trying to give you some explanation of what the board has been trying to do. And I just want to give you some steps that we've been taking as good faith and within the law, if you allow.
Could I ask you one thing?
Sure, Mr. Eagle.
Do you have a problem with having a forensic audit done? Are you here because you got a problem with that?
Here's the problem with the forensic audit, Mr. Eagle. The city has allocated $100,000 for a forensic audit. There's no specific amount within your resolution. The resolution in the city says 5 years. Your resolution says 4 years. So there's a little bit of difference in the resolution. Ultimately, it is the board of directors' decision at the HCAD to make that determination, and whether it's presented at their agenda item, that's up to the board of directors there. Even if your resolution passes, the city's resolution passes, every other entity passes this resolution, it is up to the HCAD board of directors whether or not they're going to take action. It's like the city passing a resolution and telling the county commissioners what to do and put on their agenda. It is up to you as a county commissioners, and it's up your agenda to determine whether it goes on the agenda or not. You can put it there, and it can pass or it cannot pass, but that's the same thing that's happening with the HCAD. You can tell us to put it on the agenda, whether we do or not. That is up to the HCAD board of directors. If it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you passing a resolution to another government entity doesn't hold its weight. I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm just saying.
In other words, you're here to oppose us passing this resolution. Is that, let's get to the chase. We don't need to try this today here.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here telling you what to do. You're the commissioner. This is your board. I'm not here to tell you what to do.
So okay, let me go back up and say that, yes, the Board of Directors of the Hood Central Appraisal District is a separate entity.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's funded by all of the taxing entities, two of which, well, one that's already passed a resolution to request that a forensic audit be done. We may vote to or not to, but those are two of the taxing entities that fund the appraisal district. We're responsible for the actions that are taken on our behalf. So I do want to say that, if I were a member of the appraisal board and the people that are funding me asked me to take some action to ensure that policies and procedures and accounting principles and controls were in place, I might want to listen to them.
I agree, but ultimately, it is up to that board of directors for them to take action, and if they don't want to take action, they don't have to take action. I just want to let you know.
Thank you.
You appointed all the board of directors on the appraisal district, so that was, that's how it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can make the suggestion to have this presented to the board of directors, but that's just it. It's just a suggestion. The board of directors can take action or no action on this, whether they want to or not.
And you're also currently on the city council, correct? So you're
Yes, ma'am.
on the city council. How did you vote when it came up at city council?
I voted against this.
Okay, and so you're on the city council.
That's a surprise.
You're on the city council.
Mr. Eagle, let's take a look at it. The mayor had mentioned $387,000 that he's looking for taxpayers' refund. If you take the percentage of what the county's going to have to pay, the county's going to have to pay 28% of the legal fees, and on top of that, trying to get the $387,000. That's going to equate to $108,000 taxpayer money that the county's going to have to pay the appraisal district to do that. Every time we touch on this, it's going to take legal representation from the HCAD, because we've been using legal representation. It's going to cost the taxpayers more money than $387,000 because the legal fees, and then what you want to return. I'm not against doing the forensic audit. It is up to the board of directors to determine that. But what I'm trying to do is save the taxpayers their money. We had a big issue when it came to budget about saving taxpayers money, and that's what I am trying to do as a chairman, is to save the taxpayer money. But here we are now wanting to spend taxpayers' money for for this audit. $108,000 has been budgeted by the city. Are you willing to match that?
So you made a couple of comments. One of them is about the audit firm. You changed audit firms. I mean, that's not even an issue here right now, but you talked about, I've read a lot of documents, a lot of emails, a lot of stuff going back and forth, where I'm questioning whether there's criminal intent involved. I really am. You said you don't know where they came from, who sent them, when, all this kind of stuff. It seems to me like if that is your position, and you just told us that was your position, that a forensic audit would ferret that out. We can find out who said what, when, and determine whether there was an attempt by this, not your board, but a prior board to go around the tax code 6.01. And I'm trying to understand why you're resistant to the idea of, okay, we did nothing wrong, come do what you got to do. Why aren't you coming at us like that?
Mr. Eagle, I already told you why I'm coming at you at that. I mean, y'all hammered the appraisal district for not saving taxpayers' money. And now you're sitting here telling us to spend money. So we're getting some mixed signals from the Commissioner's Court. So do you want us to spend money, or do you want us to save taxpayers' money?
So that's...
And here's the other thing. We go through audits every year, just like y'all have an auditor here. Y'all have a fresh auditor. Have y'all gone through a forensic audit? That would set
Not yet.
Okay, but here's the thing. A forensic audit is going to take a lot of time and effort on a staff that is very small, that has spent already, up until now, we still haven't received our audit. Hopefully we'll get it by June. And then you want us to go through a forensic audit. It's going to be a lot of time and money that the taxpayer is going to have to pay. So, Mr. Eagle, are you willing to spend that type of money for the type of return that you're going to get?
We don't know what the return is. We don't know what the results of the forensic audit will be.
You can,
so there's,
you can put doubt.
Excuse me, it's not just about the $387,000. We need to be assured as stewards of the taxpayers' money that the policies, procedures, and controls that were lacking back then have been corrected, and that there were no other misdeeds or misappropriations that happened during that time. The way to do that is with the forensic audit. As Mayor Jarrett just pointed out, the regular audit is just making sure if you say you got X numbers in your balance, you got X numbers in your balance. Also, let me go back to what you said about fund balance. As we went over last year, there's a difference. An appraisal district is not allowed by tax code to maintain a fund balance. You do not have a rainy day fund. Any funds are to be returned to the taxing entities, and that was the whole point of what we went through last summer. So I don't know if you forgot about that or why you brought that up again, but there is no fund balance maintained by the appraisal district. So the purpose for doing this forensic audit is to ensure, again, I'm going to reiterate, the processes, procedures, and controls that were not in place during the time that these things happened and are now in place and have been corrected, so that we can assure the taxpayers that the Hood Central Appraisal District has those processes and procedures in place and is not misallocating or misappropriating funds that they're being taxed for. There's one email that I just want to read. This was from the prior appraisal district chief appraiser, and I can tell right on here who the email's from and to, and the date. It's very clear. Eddie Rowe, Monday, April 10th, 2023, to Pete Smith, who was the legal counsel. It looks like we are staying with the PFC, the Hood Central Appraisal District Home Office Corporation. I would like to proceed with getting taxing entity approval and on the whole project unless we need to do the land first. And then it says down here, let me see. Sorry, there are a lot of emails in here that talk about, okay, this is the one, sorry. It's this one, again from Pete. This is from Eddie Road to Pete and Mark Jackson, who was he was on the appraisal board, and he was also on at this time, he was the president of the GISD. Pete and the GISD attorney, again, Pete is the attorney for the appraisal district. Pete and the GISD attorney have been working together on the land part. They've copied me on a few interactions. They are both looking at angles to do this land deal without competitive bidding. That's very concerning. This is why we need the audit.
Well, Ms. Commissioner Samuelson, thank you for that enlightenment. I just want to reiterate, the funds that you were talking about were obligated to the land and capital building line item.
You have not gotten entity approval for that, so they couldn't be allocated.
And again, I'll iterate that all the budgets were passed when those items were budgeted to those line items in the previous budget allocations up until last year. But you said, what steps are we taking? What steps is the appraisal board of directors taking? Can I list what I have as what steps we have taken as a new board? Judge, can I release that statement?
Let me tell you this. I don't think anybody up here, I don't, have any problems with the new board or the new chief appraiser. I do have some questions about what has happened in the past. And some of the things that I've looked at does bother me, and I think we need to look at them. I really do. And that's just saying nothing against you with the new board and nothing against the new chief appraiser. But there were things that were done that I have a problem with. And I don't really agree with you that the taxing entities that make up, the school is the biggest one, and then the county's next, and then the city, and then the various smaller ones, that if we all vote to do something on the thing, I don't think that the board of directors can countermand what we want to do. If we do, we have a real problem with that, with all the taxing into members of it, so that we can't, y'all don't want to then do an audit of yourself. So I think we have one more speaker here. We got one more speaker. Tina Brown has set up here. So let's hear from this other speaker here first. Thank you for what you've done. Tina Brown? What? My questions were answered. Oh, okay. Good.
Anything else from Mayor Jarrett?
Actually, yeah. I wanted to ask you, you had, excuse me, you had mentioned that, I'd like you to flesh out the point that you said that we're not actually suing ourselves for our own taxpayer money.
Well, the 300 and, you have to ask yourself, if you didn't budget for the $387,000 to pay for the architectural fees, where'd it come from? I don't know. I don't know. So, but the appraisal district receives all of the taxes that are paid in for the county. And I'm pretty sure that the appraiser, chief appraiser, the new chief appraiser, when I asked him, I said, that's tens of millions, hundreds of millions. And he said, well, it's not quite $1 billion. So this is a $2.5 million expenditure budget, but there's hundreds of millions over here that are coming in on this side, and I don't know what the controls, process, and fees are on that, but I know that the $387,000 for this was not budgeted, yet checks have been written, money has been spent. That's taxpayer funds. We can't, if we say, well, we're just, you've got to give it back. Well, all we as the entities have to budget it so that you can give it back. But if you go to if forensic audit recognizes that there are processes and procedures that errors happen. If those have happened, then you file an insurance claim. We carry that insurance. Might change our rates, as we saw earlier today, but then we, the taxpayers, have that money refunded back to us from that pool. Does that flesh it out?
Yeah, I just wanted to get that out. You were pretty brief whenever you passed through that, but I wanted people to realize that this is not ending up being just a shell game of moving money back and forth, so.
And I'd like to throw this out to the taxpayers who are sitting out here today, and also have it on the feed. A regular audit that government entities have are just what was already said. They take your word for what you present to them. Okay, we believe you. A forensic audit says we don't believe you and we're going to look. So I want you to understand the difference, because and it entails looking deeper, not taking the fox who's guarding the hen house's word for it that the chickens are all fine. So just bear that in mind, that's what we're asking for, is going, we've had enough stuff come up, and I've looked into, and I want to, by the way, while I'm talking here, I can't give you any more praise than I can give to Mayor Jim Jarrett for staying on top of this and looking at this. And I appreciate Eddie Rodriguez's work on that board. He's done a good job, had to work with what he's had to work with. This is nothing to go against Eddie Rodriguez in any way, but I think that there has been enough questionable emails, letters, shell corporations that never got, that work was done under and money was spent under, but it never became in existence. I think there's enough there. In a criminal context, it would be called prima facie. I think you've got enough there to ask some questions beyond taking their word for it. And that's what this is about. And I agree with the judge on this, that this needs to be looked at, and that there are some serious things here that happened 2, 3, 4 years ago that should be, the questions need to be answered so that we can all move on. That's my comment on that part of it.
Any question?
Eddie's got his hand up.
Yes, you want to respond to that, Eddie?
Commissioners, just one last thing, and Judge, I mentioned this before I left. I want to assure you, Commissioners, what the Board of the Appraisal District is doing on behalf of you. And this is just a list of things that I've kind of put together just to give you kind of like a things that we've done in order to try to prevent this from happening, or to better the processes and procedures of the HCAT. As you know, we appointed a whole new board of directors, pretty much, except for 2 members. And the 2 members that were previously there, we wanted to keep those 2 members just as historical knowledge. Bringing in a whole new panel is going to take a lot longer for them to understand the policies and procedures. Also, during the process, a whole new appraisal review board has been selected, and that's being by Judge Bufkin. He appoints those appraisal review board members. The resignation of the prior chief appraiser, we hired a veteran chief appraiser with extensive knowledge, over 25 years of extensive appraisal knowledge to help guide the new board of directors. In good faith, like Commissioner Samuelson said, we returned the land and building fund back to the entities. We worked with the district court to release the tax sales of the excess funds holdings back to the tax entities. We did that twice. We worked last year's budgets on behalf of all the entities to try to streamline that and try to take everything that we could out of that budget. I will say we did extremely well on that budget, and, you know, we cut it down to the bones on anticipation that with the new chief appraiser coming in, he could give us better direction on how to budget that. And you'll see a new budget this coming year, hopefully for that reason. We dissolved the HCAD Home Office Corporation. We started the quarterly newsletter to all the entities. Now the chief appraiser is starting to send out quarterly updates to all the entities, trying to give them some new information, how some of the Senate bills are affecting the appraisal district, how they're going to affect the taxing entities. We set up a new website that hopefully, you know, we've had a lot of complaints about the website, the previous website. Now we're posting our meetings, our agendas, you know, our minutes, and protests. You know, the new website has been a major improvement. And the chief appraiser is now holding meetings for the taxing entities to attend. I'm here to ask that your representatives go to these meetings, get the information that they need. Specifically, I think the auditor's been invited to these meetings. Allow her that time to go and attend these meetings with the appraisal district. That will give you some insight of what's also being handled at that level from a financial aspect. And also, we just passed this past year the Board of Directors policies and procedures that was never passed in the previous years. Now we have a policy and procedures already laid out in written format that everybody can see. I just want to give you those insights, and that's all I got. Thank you.
I want to commend these steps that you've taken, that the board has taken to tighten this stuff up. I think that it's, you guys are absolutely moving in the right direction. I don't want to make any disparaging notion whatsoever towards the good direction that you're moving. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Andrews. I just want to let y'all know that, you know, changes take time, and to implement, as y'all know, the government doesn't move as fast as we'd like to, but we are moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So any other comments, questions? Okay. The resolution's been up on the screen while we've been talking. I'll just read through everyone's had a chance to read it, commissioners and judge? Okay. So the last part of it, I guess I'll just reiterate that the whereas, second to last whereas is the concern of the Hood County Commissioners Court that there may be additional funds that were inappropriately allocated, and whereas the Hood County Commissioners Court must be assured the prior inappropriate budget actions and practices have been corrected. Now let it be hereby resolved that the Hood County Commissioners Court hereby calls on the Hood Central Appraisal District to amend the current year's budget for the purposes of retaining a third-party forensic audit firm to conduct a forensic audit of the prior 4 fiscal years and deliver said audit to each taxing entity no later than the last day of the calendar year 2024. Or alternatively, the Hood County Commissioners Court calls on the Hood Central Appraisal District to include a line item for the forensic audit in the 2025 budget and deliver the forensic audit to each taxing entity no later than June 1st, 2025, and prior to the submission for review of the 2026 Hood Central Appraisal District budget to each of the taxing entities. So I make them.
Just rather than the 4 years, since the city's already passed doing a request for a 5-year, that we
Be consistent.
To do 5, that way we're consistent.
Okay, yeah. That's what, Mayor Jared, is that what your city council asked for? 5 years?
I would have to go back and look. It's whatever our agenda is.
Okay.
Well, that's what I heard, understood him to say that they had requested a 5-year.
It needs to be consistent.
It does need to be consistent, or we could, let's see. He's looking at it.
Well, let's go ahead. We got to get this moving on. Let's go ahead and make a motion. with it, that we
I'll
will
make,
change
yeah, I'll
it to
make
be
the
consistent?
motion to
Approve this
request this resolution and with the audit years consistent with the city council resolution.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to adopt this resolution, with the only exception to be that the number of audited years be consistent with what was passed by the city as far as fiscal years. Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes, our resolution, motion passes unanimously. So I'm going to pass this around to get signed here.
Commissioner Andrews has a question.
Can we take a break?
Yes. Okay, we're going to take a 10-minute break here. Okay, we're on item number 8. We're back in session here at 27 minutes after 11. Discuss and take appropriate action to allow the county judge to sign the Active Nature Center concession agreement extension. All other provisions in the original agreement dated July the 23rd, 2007 shall remain in effect. Mr. Wilson.
Okay, the Hood County Development District 1 approached, because it's the last extension was a 10-year extension, which expires this July, and there's not any effect to the taxpayer. The portion of the taxes that are in that development district that are paid via sales tax will continue as that, and this helps to support the Acton Nature Center, and so they're requesting, an extension beyond the current 10-year, and I proposed a 99-year extension. It's already run through the county attorney, Mr. Mills, and, the only verbiage that was changed was the actual timeline rather than no other changes to the overall document. So at this time, I will make a motion that we allow the county judge to sign the Acton Nature Center concession agreement extension with all other provisions in the original agreement dated July 23rd, 2007 to remain in effect.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
I have some questions.
All right, you got a question?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. 99 years, I'm just thrown by that we are asking for a contract to be extended for 99 years. This contract was written, as you mentioned, in 2007. I don't think that it's had much of a review since then. A lot of things have changed in 17 years. The amendment that's attached, which for some reason my thing's not working right now, but when I looked at it last night, the amendment does not specify the section that's being amended, so it's just asking for a 99-year extension. It doesn't reference a prior agreement. So I'm just questioning the 99 years, and I'd like an opportunity to have a full review of the original agreement that's 17 years old to ensure that we...
It's specifically...
it doesn't mention
Article 2, Item 2.02, and
Are you looking at the one from 2014? That one was correct, but the one for what we're looking at now does not specify. The 2014, which I don't know why this, Drew, I don't know why my thing's not.
Say the county attorney's already reviewed it and, discussed that.
Here it is. It says this amendment to the concession agreement is entered into on this 28th day of May 2024 between Hood County, Texas and Hood County Development District, pertains to the former VOR-TAC property, now known as Acton Nature Center. The term of this concession is extended for 99 years from today's date. It doesn't reference the other one, reference the exact article.
It is right here. Mr. Mills, please come on. This is about the concession agreement on the Hood County nature.
Right. Went back to the office and got a phone call, and that dragged me down.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Well, my first concern is that we're extending a 17-year-old agreement for 99 years. I just have a concern about extending an agreement that long when who knows what can happen in 5 years, 10 years, but 99 years, it seems like an awfully long time to have an agreement without, because as everyone knows, what the general rule is no one ever looks at an agreement until either you have a lawsuit or it's up for renewal. And so there's 99 years is just very concerning to me, and also the language in this current amendment does not reference the section of the original agreement that speaks about the term of the agreement. It doesn't reference the article section of the agreement that you're changing from 10 years to 99 years.
Well, it says all other provisions will remain in effect
Right.
except for the time limit. That's all that's changing.
If you look at the revised concession agreement entered into on the 23rd day of July '07 and go down to 1.01, it references that the original term was 10 years as of July 26, 2004. So in 14, they had their 10 years was expiring. That's why we've got the 2014 renewal. But I'm in agreement. I feel uncomfortable putting something down for us committing it for 99 years when just bringing it back in 10 years and doing it again, and maybe some circumstances will have changed. Who knows? But to put it down for 99 years is, I think that's us stepping out. That's generally we're not able. A prior commissioner's court can't bind a future one, but in this case, it's a contract. I'm not real comfortable with going for this 99 years either.
Well, it wasn't my idea. Jack asked me to draft something, and I tried to make it as simple as possible to meet what he was asking me to do, so I did. There are provisions, obviously, in there that if they fail to do something on their end, then you can rescind and terminate, like in 3.02. So, if that gives you some comfort that, hey, if y'all decide that you want to just build a subdivision out here or something, you can terminate and walk away and get the property back. I don't really care.
So Commissioner Wilson.
Brazos we leased for 99 years.
Right,
That's not-
yeah, I'm not concerned about the legality of it, it's just a policy question. Do you want to do 99 years or 10 or 20, or, that's up to you.
So a question for Commissioner Wilson, is your thinking that on the 99 years, just so that we're kind of done with it? Or, I'm trying to.
Well, that and to prevent the, going into it, Acton Nature Center has a lot of visitors, not just county. There are people from all over the state and all over the country that come there on an annual basis for various events. And, this is, basically protects that Acton Nature Center will survive.
So in other words, if they wanted to invest in infrastructure or something, and then they're worried that it would end,
I can see that as a point. It does protect the capital investment or whatever for greater than 10 years to do the 99 years. So,
Yeah, for example, Article 5 talks about public liability insurance in the minimum amount of $1 million for loss and accident resulting in bodily injury or death of one person, and $1 million for loss from the accident resulting in damage or a destruction of property. Do we think that's valid? It was written in 2007. Is that the right amount in 2050?
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. With inflation going,
Yeah.
that might, that's a fair point. Yeah.
you do have a good point there.
I just think that this whole agreement needs to be reviewed. It's 17 years old. And I'm not inclined to extend it for 99 years with situations like that in it.
Well, we've got till July. We've got another couple of weeks.
That is true.
I think you.
Motion on the table. And a second.
Use motion. Are you making a motion to
No,
table?
he already, no, he
No, I did
motioned.
not. I made a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to withdraw my second on that. I think that there's some good points brought up here that need a little more looking at.
Okay. Well, do you want to just table it? It doesn't look like you're going to get it.
All right, I make a motion at this point that we table item number 8.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to table number 8, the Acton Nature Center, second by Commissioner Andrews. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries 5-0. All right, item number 9, consider and take appropriate action to purchase a new desk chair for County Court at Law Judge from Texas Correctional Industries for $975 from Fund 55.
Yeah.
That's you, Commissioner.
Yeah, Judge Walton came in as a sitting in down there, and he looked at that chair and he said, "Judge, you need to get a new chair." And I think there's some pictures out there that would definitely validate that point. And the Texas Correctional Industries will build, deliver, and install that chair for $975. So.
Why does it need to come out of Fund 55?
They do not have enough money in their supply line.
Or he has a budget?
Yeah, he does not have enough money in his supply line.
Yeah.
So.
Or
He doesn't have the budget now, he waits till the budget cycle.
Well.
Or contingency.
So.
Yes.
Fund 55 or contingency, whichever you wish. Or wait till the next budget cycle, however you want to handle that. Have you seen his chair?
It's bad. Yeah, I'll make a motion to, we approve the purchase of the desk chair for County Court at Law Judge from Texas Correctional Industries for $975 from Fund 55.
I'll second.
Yeah, motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to purchase a new desk for County Court at Law Judge from the Texas Correctional Industry of $975 from Fund 55, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 4-1. All right, item number 10, discuss and take appropriate action to promote the office manager OM1 from 39.9 to chief deputy, clerical supervisor 45.5, effective Tuesday, May 28, 2024, County Clerk Justice Center. That is you, Commissioner Eagle. Is there money in the budget? Do you have money in your budget to cover that?
Yes, Judge, I do.
Yeah, somebody left, so I think there's money left now. Go ahead, new county clerk Christine Leftwich.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, so when I took over as the county clerk, I did make some changes in the office, letting an individual go, the former deputy clerk, who'd been with the county for quite a while and has had a significant income. And the individual that I'm bringing in is coming in at quite a bit less than what this person was making. She has 7 years with the county. She's been in the county clerk's office for about 5 years. She's very knowledgeable of the procedures and policies within that office, and also very knowledgeable on the Tyler system, and someone who I feel like I can work with. The person that I let go for insubordination and for conduct and comments that were unbecoming of a chief deputy clerk. And so I felt that that was in the best interest of running my staff and the county clerk's office, that that individual be let go. And so I do now have a vacancy for chief deputy clerk.
Do I hear a motion?
Yes, sir. Make the motion that we promote the office manager OM1, currently at 39,999.96, to chief deputy clerk / clerical supervisor CS1-1 or CSI-1 at $45,500 effective Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, today.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to promote the office manager to chief deputy for effective salary of $45,500 effective today, Tuesday, May 28, 2024, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next, 11, discuss and take appropriate action to promote a county deputy clerk, 1 to office manager, for, effective Tuesday today. Is that the same thing you're doing, Ben?
So with the appointment of a new chief deputy clerk, that leaves the position that that individual had open. The individual that I would like to appoint to that has been in our county clerk's office for 2 years. And so I wanted to promote her to the office manager position, and that will leave us with a clerk position open. We do have that advertised right now on the county website, so that would be an entry-level position coming into the clerk's office, entry-level step 1. So I do have the money in the budget to be able to do that as well.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to promote County Deputy Clerk 1 in question currently at $36,599.94 to the office manager OM1 $40,000 effective Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, today.
Second.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to promote a county deputy clerk from $36,599.94 to office manager $40,000 effective Tuesday, May 28, 2024, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 12, discuss and take appropriate action hiring a 911 operator at CO2-2, $57,741, effective Monday, June 17th, 2024. Is that right?
That's correct. Judge, Commissioners, Sean did a great job tracking this person down, she's worked with him for a while with a lot of the changeover from the radio system, but this was a great job of recruiting her to Hood County. I'll let Sean talk about her.
So I've already talked to HR and the auditor. We have the money to do this. She's from Stephenville Police Department. She's got 10 years of experience. She's basically me over there. She's a TAC. She does validation. She runs 11 people. She does the scheduling. She's a really, really good find, and it's a really good skill for us.
Okay.
So this is be below what she's making over there, but she's ready to move over here. She's just waiting on her 2 weeks' notice that she's in right now.
Let's get the ones that are experienced in.
This will put me, when she starts, we'll be full. I already got enough people, so.
Bravo, yeah. Good job, yeah, doing that.
It's been work, but yeah, this is a good still for us, good for the county, because if something happens to me, then Tyler can take over, and then she can step right into Tyler's spot. It's a good find.
Okay, good deal. Can you hang out until June the 17th? Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the hiring of a 911 operator at CO2-2, 57,741, effective Monday, June 17th, 2024.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to hire a 911 operator at CO22, $57,741 effective Monday, June 17, 2024, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Sean,
Okay.
good. Okay, number 13, presentation by Callan Nix and discussion regarding the usage of biosolid human waste pellet fertilizer and impacts associated with usage. No action will be taken. However, we do have 3 people that have signed up to speak on this. The first is Dr. Harold Granick.
Well, do we want to let Callan do her presentation
You need to do
first?
the presentation
Oh,
first.
well, here it's,
Yeah.
okay. Come on, let her speak first. I do. Thank you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and thank you for coming to do this. I know I've gotten a lot of emails and a lot of people asking for more information, and I have found through my resources that you are a wealth of said information, so please do share.
Okay, howdy, I'm Callan Nix. I'm representing Lake Granbury 4-H Club. I will be presenting this presentation at the Texas 4-H Roundup next week. Before we start, I just want to make sure that it is known that this presentation is for educational and informational purposes. I'm not taking any sides. So with that being said, we'll get into it. This is the biosolids dilemma. So before 1950, most sewage was released into streams and rivers without treatment. Then in the 1950s and 60s, wastewater treatment facilities were beginning to be built, and then approximately 99% of this wastewater was released back as clean water. So then the question arose, what do we do with the leftovers? And that is where biosolids came into play. So biosolids are a nutrient-rich product produced from the wastewater treatment process. It's important to note that biosolids and sewage sludge are not the same thing. You start out with sewage sludge and biosolids are created. What are biosolids mainly used for? Land application takes up 56% of the annual biosolids usage. As you can see in the yellow part, landfilling takes up 27%, incineration 16%, and then we have that leftover 1% for things like deep well injection. So what are the benefits of biosolids? When applied to the soil correctly, biosolids add nutrients to the soil, improve the soil structure, conserve landfill space, and even lower the demand for synthetic fertilizers. Now, coming from a farming family, I know how expensive synthetic fertilizers can be, so biosolids offer a more economic option, but the question becomes, are they environmentally friendly? As you can see in this top picture, we have an old logging road. They no longer needed this logging road, so they covered the hillside in biosolids, and it created the bottom picture, a green, luscious hillside. There are 2 classes of biosolids. We have your Class A biosolids. They're very heavily treated for these pathogens and viruses. They can be applied to the land, and they're the ones that farmers and ranchers around you are using. They're also the ones that you smell in the springtime. Then we have the Class B biosolids. These are not as intensely treated for those pathogens and viruses. They can still be applied to the land. However, they have much greater regulations surrounding that land application. Here we have the wastewater treatment process. So you start out with your commercial and residential wastewater. That wastewater then makes its way to the wastewater treatment facility, where it will first undergo trash removal. And trash removal, it's just going to get all of the debris out of the mixture so it can then move on to aerobic treatment. In aerobic treatment, gravity and bacteria is going to help settle the solids down to the bottom so the mixture can then move on to anaerobic digestion. In anaerobic digestion, it's going to do a lot like what your stomach does when you're breaking down food. It's going to heat it up, and then a bacteria is going to break the solids down. It will then move on to dewatering, where a belt is going to press out the excess water. They're going to add lime into the mixture. It will be loaded up into a truck and out to its destination. The 2 main companies that are supplying the biosolids to the farmers and ranchers in your area are Synagro and Renda, Synagro being the main one. So what are the biosolids getting treated for when they're undergoing this wastewater treatment process? There are things called PFAS chemicals, which is short for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. These are chemicals found in things like firefighting foams, popcorn bags, nonstick pans, or even sunscreens. They're known as forever chemicals as they stay around forever. Under this umbrella of PFAS chemicals, there are 40 known, 12 of them are regulated, and 2 of them are the most harmful ones. The first one being the perfluorooctonic acid, which is a PFOA, and the perfluorooctane sulfonic acid, which is a PFOS. So what's the dilemma with PFAS found in biosolids? PFAS substances could be leaching from landfills and into our drinking water. Humans and animals are then drinking this affected water, and it's causing major problems. The Ogallala Aquifer is one of the greatly affected aquifers. The Ogallala Aquifer is in the southern parts of the Texas Panhandle and stretches all the way up, or in the northern parts of the Texas Panhandle and stretches all the way up into the southern parts of Wyoming. Here we have the history behind the biosolids regulations and guidelines. So it started long ago in 1984 with a DuPont scientist. He realized that something was up. So he set the first limit, and it was at 1,000 parts per trillion on the PFAS chemicals. Then in 2009, after the EPA was developed, they lowered that to 400 parts per trillion just on the one PFOA. Then in 2016, the EPA came back and they set a limit for both the PFOA and the PFOS at 70 parts per trillion. In 2018, the states decided they wanted to have some control over the regulations, New Jersey being one of them, setting the PFOA to 14 parts per trillion and the PFOS to 13 parts per trillion. In 2024, about a month ago, the EPA gathered again, and they put an end to the states and set both the PFOA and the PFOS at 4 parts per trillion. So let's go back to this DuPont company. In 1946, DuPont released a nonstick cookware with Teflon. This Teflon chemical was known as C8 back in the day, and it is now known as a PFOA. This is a fluorinated chemical. So instead of having a hydrogen-carbon bond, it has a carbon-fluorine bond. This carbon-fluorine bond is very difficult to be broken down and actually can't be broken down with our current science and technology. This chemical is often found in things like Gore-Tex or even Scotchgard. Later on in 2001 in Parkersburg, West Virginia, which is where the DuPont company was developed, they started to notice things were not going well. There were foggy eyes in cattle, black teeth in children, so they started to do some investigating. And they discovered that the Teflon chemical was in their drinking water. The community then filed a class action lawsuit, and it uncovered that the DuPont company knew that these chemicals were in the drinking water. However, they failed to notify the community members and the employees that worked at the DuPont plant. These substances are cancerous in some peoples and animals due to the fat amount. So let's say we have a really skinny goat with a thin fat cover layer, and he ingests these chemicals. It's going to be very easy for him to fight off the chemicals compared to a more fat goat with a thicker fat cover layer. When he ingests these chemicals, the chemicals will absorb into his fat cover layer, and it will be very difficult for him to fight off the chemicals. These chemicals also affect the fetuses of a human or animal. So let's say we have a pregnant cow, and she ingests these chemicals. The chemicals will absorb into the fetus, and it will often cause things like stillborn calves. In Johnson County, a farmer had a stillborn calf he blames on surrounding farms using the biosolids frequently. So he believes that the surrounding farmers are using this biosolids product from Synagro. They're applying it to the land. It's doing as it should and absorbing into the ground. However, some of it is making its way into the runoff. It's running downstream to the Coleman family ranch, and then his cattle are ingesting this chemical. And he believes it is causing things like stillborn babies. Now, this specific stillborn calf was preserved at birth and sent to the Texas A&M lab where this calf underwent a few tests. They tested his liver, and his liver tested for 610,000 parts per trillion of the PFAS chemicals in his liver. Now, there's no way of knowing that these chemicals are what caused the calf to be stillborn. However, the farmer firmly believes this, as he has had many other fish, poultry, even dogs die after the biosolids were being applied to the land in about 2 years ago, so in 2022. This is leading to bigger problems. So obviously, cattle can't go into the food chain with the PFAS chemicals in them. We can't ingest beef that has high amounts of PFAS chemicals, and we can't ingest milk that has high amounts of PFAS chemicals. So now farmers are having to euthanize cattle. And once they're euthanized, they then have to go to a hazardous wasteland. And if the chemicals just so happen to leach through the wasteland lining and into the ground, there's nothing we can do about it, as they are forever chemicals. So what are the solutions to the PFAS chemicals found in biosolids? And what do we do with the biosolids? Well, we can A, bury the biosolids in a hazardous wasteland, or B, we can use them in aid to grow hay and crops. Like I said earlier, there's really no way that we can just take the chemicals and beat them at their source. Due to that bond, we have no technology to do that right now. However, it is up to us to use them in the best way that will best benefit our world. My research sources include the Environmental Protection Agency, Northwest Biosolids, Pennsylvania Extension Service, Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, Public Employees for Environmental Regulations, Plains Humanities, and the City of Fort Worth. I would also like to give a thank you to Oscar Martinez, who is the Senior Project Manager and Senior Chemist at Hoff in San Antonio, as well as Larry Woolley, who is the Johnson County Commissioner. Thank you. And are there any questions?
I just want to give you a standing ovation. Thank you.
Hope you win first prize.
Wow. Wow, that was excellent.
Having received a lot of this information from, Commissioner Johnson out of Johnson County, what she just presented, folks, is valid. And it should make everyone concerned about the use of biosolid pellets specifically as being the item that you don't want. I know Johnson County has totally banned it from their whole county, now. So, I thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, let me add to that was an excellent presentation. You really did you knocked it out of the ballpark. That was great.
Thank you.
And the information was very relevant. As I was telling, is that your mom back there?
Yes, sir.
As I was talking to her, when I got on the court, I spent a lot of time looking at groundwater. And, one of the problems we have with groundwater is, I like the way you call it forever chemicals. The groundwater is starting to get more and more pharmaceuticals in it. And where the EPA, there's no requirements to have it measured or checked out. And we're ingesting that. So there's a lot of stuff that you're bringing to our attention. And I didn't know about this, so it was very informative. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
I spent probably an hour and a half with Larry Woolley last week talking about this stuff, and I think that you pretty much put all that information in about 5 minutes there.
Thank you.
Commend you for a very good presentation, and and I think that you made a couple of important points. This is something that we have to deal with one way or another. This is, it's in our waste facilities. Does it go into a landfill? Is it something that could be used as fertilizer? This is a tough question. There's no easy answer to this. This isn't quite so cut and dried. And that, is there technology coming along where they be able to remove it from the wastewater before the pelletized fertilizer? These are hard questions. So thank you for a very even-handed approach to this also. So thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, are you employed by Texas Health?
No, I'm not.
Not yet?
Since you're employed by Texas Health Resources, what grade are you still in school?
I'm an incoming junior at Toller High School.
Wow.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Is Mom employed at Texas Health? Is that?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
She works at a hospital.
All right.
Very-
Well, I
very
don't know
impressive.
if anybody wants to follow you, but we do have Dr. Granick. Do you want to follow this?
I will, as a short comment.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank
Did an
you.
excellent job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Granick.
Currently a sophomore for the next couple of days. Wow.
More hope for the future.
Yes,
I think
very
these are some
impressive.
bright spots that we're seeing here today.
Judge and Commissioner, we got one more speaker.
Much more brief. Our ancient ancestors learned that farming with human waste had the potential of transmitting human viruses and bacteria, and that's why human waste was not used as a fertilizer. And this is just something we need to remember. These tried to be sterilized. You obviously don't get rid of, as she pointed out, the forever chemicals, but there's also the potential of transmitting human viruses if the fertilizer is then used for products that humans eat.
Well, I think they cook the fire out of that stuff. They burn all the viruses and
Hopefully.
Yeah, they treat for pathogens before it.
But we look
gets
at
out, so.
the whole issue of avian flu going through cows and such now too. So,
yeah,
you know.
Good point. Okay. Brandon Mayberry. You go. Okay. All right. Okay.
Very thorough.
Thank you. All right, well, that was a great presentation. No action we've taken yet, but I guess we will. All right. Next. All right, 14 is next. Y'all consider and take appropriate action to award RFP 2024-03 bulk waste disposal for Citizen Collection Station. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
And we got one speaker when you get through.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, the bulk waste disposal for the Citizens Collection Station, RFP 2024-03, was published on April 13th and 20th, and the proposals were opened on May 20th at 10 a.m. The two qualified responses went through a weighted evaluation process to determine which provided the best value to the county. As a result of the evaluation, it's a recommendation of Environmental Health and Purchasing to award the contract to Waste Connections. Are there any questions?
Did you award it, or?
No, we're requesting to
asking us
award it to
Okay.
Waste Connections.
Okay. Well, we have BT Rhodes up here that wants to speak.
Okay.
Come on up, BT. Tell us who you with.
I'm BT Rhodes. I'm with Waste Connections. First, I'll say thanks, Glenn, for the recommendation. I've been involved with the Citizen Collection Station since its inception. I worked closely with Commissioner Berry when he was on the court to get it implemented. I just would think that, excuse me, we've proved that we have the working relationship. We have the resources to make sure that the job is done, and I guess that's about all I need to say.
How long have you been?
I just started my 17th year.
Has Hood County always used Waste Connection?
We have, back when we were IESI was when we actually started it. We were IESI, and then we became Progressive Waste, had bought us, and then in 2017, Waste Connections bought us.
So it's basically been the same
But it's the
people,
same-
just with
it's the
different
same-
name changes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who else has bid on this thing?
TJ Services. It's not here, Judge. Here's the scoring summary.
Is it competitive? I forgot about it. I looked at it.
It's
Waste Connection, that's it.
way ahead,
Yeah,
It's way ahead on everything.
yeah, okay. All right, thank you, BT. Thank you. All right. Do I hear a motion?
You want to say anything? No? Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to award, let me find it here, RFP 2024-03 for bulk waste services for the Citizens Collection Station to Waste Connections Lone Star, Inc.
Second.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to award the bulk waste disposal for the Citizen Collection Station to Waste Connection, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Give us another good 17 years, BT.
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, next item, discuss and take appropriate action to accept the DRG Architects fee proposal and authorize the county attorney to negotiate a final contract that will be brought back to court for signature.
Judge, I would like to put a point of order on this and request that we flip the items in 15 and 16 and do 16 first, and then do item 15. In other words, look at the funding method first, and then look at this, is my suggestion. In fact, I'll make that motion just to flip the order of these two.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to change the order, discuss item 16 and first before item 15, second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, let's go ahead and do that then. So let's take item 16, discuss and take appropriate action to choose a funding method for a jail addition and authorize the county auditor to pursue that funding. Yes, ma'am. Come on up here and enlighten us with what you and Mr. Sabonis have come up with. I know you've been talking to him.
Good morning. Yes, I did speak with our financial advisor, and he said the two options available to us were a certificate of obligation or a voted bond, each of which were structured the exact same way. It was just the method of authorization. And the amortization was, I believe it was 15 years. It would not change our current debt rate if we chose either option, so it's really up to the court to decide which method you wish to pursue to fund the jail, if you choose to fund the jail.
Won't change our tax rate.
Yep, so you'll keep your same rate that we have currently. We can structure the finance, or he can structure the financing to keep it the same.
Assuming there's no other debt that needs to be issued for other projects, capital projects like roads or anything else.
Right, you would have to visit that at that time. But if we're just talking about the jail, then it could be structured in a way that it would not change the current rate.
Okay. So he said either one. Okay.
I've got a comment.
All right, maybe open it up for discussion.
This is in relationship to certificates of obligation. Local debt in Texas is third in the nation. That's recent statistics that we have the third highest local debt in the entire United States. This is a local debt we're talking about. I have a Texas Comptroller bulletin from January of 2017 that goes through the concept that certificates of obligation is becoming a controversial funding tool. More and more governments are using them to fund projects to go around voter approval. From 2006 to 2015, outstanding county debt issue went up, from 2006 to 2015, this is 10 years ago, outstanding certificates of obligation debt issued went up by 85% after the certificate of obligation concept was put into the local government code. The legislature is looking more and more and more at certificates of obligation as a problem, per Glenn Hager, Comptroller of Public Accounts. Last legislative session, House Bill 1489 was introduced. Shelby Slauson, our state rep, was one of the sponsors of that bill. And I sent Shelby Slauson an email and have discussed this with her over the course of the last couple of weeks. And just to bring you up to date, this bill was introduced last session and it failed. But the bill was entitled Certificate of Obligation Reform Act of 2023 because more and more local governments are going to this instead of asking the voters for permission to spend their money. of major interest in that bill that was introduced, I pulled the bill and read through it, is in the definition stage. The definition of public work has been changed or was changed in that proposed legislation. The original version of public work definition included a jail. That's under Texas Local Government Code 271.43, subsection 7, small a, capital A, Roman numeral small 7, if you want to look for that. The proposed bill deleted that, deleted jail from a public work. So that's an interesting idea, that's an interesting thing that the legislature, the proponents of this bill put it in there, or took out. The other interesting thing that's of important note about a certificate of obligation was the current law allows about a 25%, I'll call it fluff. In other words, there's a 25% overrun or override potential with a certificate of obligation, that this new legislation proposed to take that down to 15%, once again because especially municipalities are abusing the certificate of obligation as a tool. I bring that up to you because I asked when Representative Slauson sent this back to me, I asked her, what is the feel for the next session? Do you feel like this legislation is going to be revisited? And she said she felt like it did, but she gave me the name of the originator, who I haven't had a chance to discuss with because I was gone all last week and didn't get back till Saturday night. It's Memorial Day weekend, so I need a little more time on that part. When originally put into place, the legislature meant for the financial tools such as a certificate of obligation to be used for shorter-term projects and projects with lower overall costs. They did not put them in place as a tool to bypass the voters. And as it stands, we're looking at $33 million proposal on a jail addition. If you factor in the 25% fluff, you could be looking up to $40 million on top of the original. And to me, I just think this is an issue that should be put into the taxpayers. And we got a great, thank you for the last minute, Mr. Hess. We got a great email from Richard Hess, actually late last night, but I didn't see it till today because yesterday was a holiday, right? But he gave us a very good rundown based on the assumption that we would do a bond issue. And he also, his assumption was a bond issue 30 years at 5%. So again, a bond is where a certificate of obligation we can issue, the county can do on its own. A bond issue has to be presented to the public for the vote. I don't know, just like my teenagers, I would like, they don't get to make some of the decisions. They got to come to me and let me make the decision. So I just wanted to get those comments into the record that if certificates of obligation is being thought of by the other court members, I'm going to have a problem with that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that we did receive the information from Mr. Sabonis. I think just attached to the agenda. We didn't receive anything else in email, so late Thursday or early Friday. And with yesterday being a holiday, there's been little to no time to discuss this individually with Mr. Sabonis to get a better understanding. It looks to me like it's $47 million adding the P&I together. So we have not received any, there's not been any time to get any input from taxpayers. And I couldn't in good conscience put the taxpayers in debt for $47 million for 20 years without discussion and feedback. It is their money. And just looking into general obligation bonds, one of the things that jumped out at me was, certificates of obligation. Unlike general obligation bonds that always require an election, Certificates of obligation do not require an election unless at least 5% of the registered voters in the county submit a valid petition protesting the issuance. So we have around 48,000 voters, so that'd be about 2,400 to 2,500 people. After what we just recently have seen in taxing going on with this county, I don't think that's a stretch to think that 2,400 to 2,500 people would sign a petition saying you got to put this in front of us so we can up or down it and understand it more. Let us see all the details. So if a valid petition is received, the Commissioners Court cannot issue their certificates of obligation until an election is held. The election is conducted in the same manner as a general obligation bond election, which means you put all the wording on the ballot and let the voters decide.
Anybody else have a comment?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's no stretch in the current political climate to think that 2,500 people will turn in a petition and ask this to go to the ballot. I think that that's the most transparent, best way to do this to start with.
So it's, I mean, just to kick back in here, so it sounds like really our choice today, we have two choices. We can, well, three. We can postpone this and take some more time to study, because Commissioners, some of us have been gone for 10 days, number one. Number two, we've got a certificate of obligation. We could vote for that. Or three, we could vote, if we're agreeing that we're going to do this project, we can vote to get bond counsel and present this as a bond to the voters. I think that's our three options today. And if anybody's thinks there's something different, let me know.
Well, I'll make a motion to table it, to just allow all of us to, like I said, we just received this analysis. Stephanie, have you had time to review it with Mr. Sabonis?
We got it right as the deadline to submit for court.
Okay, so I just think we need some more time to review it and ask questions, as we did with other things. We've individually, because we can't as a group unless he wants to come here and talk to us like he has done. We have to individually contact him and go through it. That's just the way government works. So
I'll second your motion.
Is this for just 15 or 16-2? You want to do both of them?
No, just see. Well,
well, yes, I have some questions about 16-2. We just got the FNA back yesterday. Jack, you just got it this morning, didn't you? The facility needs assessment that we got back from the court. I mean, sorry, here it is.
Well, do we want to hear these two gentlemen from DRG before,
Sure.
since they've been sitting here
All right.
patiently all morning here? Do y'all want to say something? You understand what we're about to vote on here. Do y'all want to say something prior to voting on this?
Did you?
Y'all are down in San Antonio, right? Yes. Yeah, we could have talked when he was down there.
Judge, Commissioners, I appreciate the invitation to come here and to step up here this morning. Wayne Gondek, DRG Architects, Gary Adams for the record here. We did present to you a proposal for a fee structure that was the next step in the process of this and I guess I'm not totally sure, Judge, as to are we still on the funding portion, or did we kind of combine the two agenda items as y'all were talking about that?
If I can, as a point of order here, I think we got a motion on the table and a second for the one item
Funding.
first,
Funding.
to table it.
So do we need to finish that before we?
I think so, but the judge is the presiding, not me.
If you want us to, we've dealt with a lot of bond issues and issues in COs. We've built a lot of jails under both
you need to go through the same educational process with the public on both forms of financing. We're totally in favor of an informed public. People will come out and vote against it, they don't understand it. So part of what we do as your architects is we move forward with and explain the whole physical part of it and the need for your project. People will come out and vote, and they will be for or against it. But if you put it on them with COs, I've found that you're wrecking yourself if the people are against it, because you're going to have to stand back and wait 3 years before you can do anything. That's some of the things that happen. So if you move forward with a bond issue, you put it out to the public, they're informed, they vote in November, either for or against it, and that moves your project on. As you sit here and look at COs, you alienate a lot of people by not letting the public vote on it.
I agree.
Agree with that.
Time frame wise, I think y'all have already talked about that. You know, you have 2 times a year and we're not a financial advisor, we're not a bond counsel. So all this is just general information that, well, we just sat through a couple of presentations last week about the same thing, about the timing. That in middle August, 17th or 19th of August is when a November election would be called or could be called. If the next one would be in May, that you'd have to call that in February. So those are sort of the time frames when you start talking about elections, bond elections, and then as you move to talking about our services, our services would sort of track with that, depending on whether we are working towards a November election or a May election. And we sort of address that within our cost proposal or our fee proposal as to that schedule of how we will work towards that. And one, taking what the jail commission came up with, reevaluating that, answering all those other questions that they come up with, and then working towards that on presenting all that information to the public and making sure that we could present those fact questions to the public.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
When y'all do want to discuss the fee proposal, if you have any questions on that, we'd be happy to step up here and talk to you about it.
Thank you.
Okay, hang on.
Go ahead.
The auditor, in a letter that all of us on court received, says that the debt structure and interest cost will be the same for certificate of obligation or voted general obligation bonds. Certificates and bonds have the same credit pledged and only vary by the authorization method. The recommended method of financing is a certificate of obligation. That's per the county auditor.
If I can put an addendum to that, I don't think that was, that was Sabonis's recommendation, and she was just echoing that in her defense. You didn't make a decision either way, did you?
That's what you recommended.
Right.
That's from Sabonis. Yes, thank you.
So the motion to table this, and there was a second from Commissioner Eagle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. So we got a motion to table both items here, made by Commissioner Samuelson, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we got 2 more items on the agenda, and that's going to executive session. We're going to put those afterwards since we already 12:25, and we're going to go to the consent agenda. Does any of the commissioners wish to pull anything or say anything about anything on the consent agenda?
Yes, Judge, I got one question I'd like to just, on the item number 6, don't necessarily need to pull it off, but just to ask a question. What does this have, the DPS Highway Patrol, could I get a little explanation of that?
So
person retiring was the office manager, and the person they hired was a clerk, so we needed to create a clerk line and move the remaining salary from the office manager line to the clerk line.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. With that, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, a motion made by Commissioner Samuelson to approve the consent agenda, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Good. Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Next up, Mr. Donald Lenny, Road Ops. Number 1, public hearing to discuss and consider approval of the following traffic regulation, take appropriate action, establish a stop sign on Jewel Court at Brushy Court. So here at 12:27 p.m., we're going to convene into a public hearing to discuss that. Yes, sir, Mr. Lenny.
Judge Maskill, Commissioners. Commissioner Samuelson had received a request on this concern where Jewel Court actually tees into Brushy Road, and there's been some minor mishaps with the people traveling on Jewel Court up to Brushy Road. The way it looks, it's probably kind of dark, so the request was to put a stop sign there to alert drivers that the road is ending at that point.
Okay, we do have one speaker here who's going to get my full attention. He gets it every year from September to May. He gets my full attention here. Joyce Dorsey, you would like to come up here and tell the court why you're for an installation of a stop sign here at Brushy Road and Jewel Court?
Because I'm tired of repairing my fence.
You're tired of building your fence?
Having people run through your pasture.
So the intersection is right at our property is across the road from Jewel Court. And so when they don't stop at that stop sign, they travel up across our fence and into our pasture and drive around and drive out another hole down here. And so we've had that happen twice now, so.
We can't have that.
We can't have that.
We can't have them
Vinny's
messing
gotta cook. He
with
can't
Joyce
grill.
and Chef Vinny. We can't have that, can we, Donald Lenny? All right, good.
I want to
All
say
right.
that
Thank you for your comment.
the road ops crew and Donald Lenny right after I got the request, immediately went out and put some reflectors on the fence, so that hopefully has helped, but I think the stop sign is warranted.
That'd be a good additive to it. We did put 2 chevrons up once Commissioner Samuelson contacted us to help.
Any further comment? If not, at 12:30, we're going to convene back into Commissioners Court. And do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve the stop sign at the intersection of Jewel Court and Brushy Road.
I second that. Be sure to tell Vinny that, okay? All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Unanimous also, okay? All right. All right, next item, Mr.
Judge, we have discussed and take appropriate action on accepting the following roadways in the main place development onto the county road system. Would like to start off that these 2 roads were actually completed in November of 2017. Per our regulations, it required a 3rd chip seal during the regulations at that time. This chip seal was applied on April the 29th of this year. We were contacted, Commissioner Wilson and myself were contacted by the HOA president. So regulations recommends accepting Silverton Drive from Clearwater Place to the cul-de-sac, a length of 560 feet, and Wrangler Court from Silverton Drive to the dead end at 640 feet.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
And they have met all of the requirements that were necessary to get those up to standard?
Yes, sir. That's
Yes, sir.
all we liked was that
Thank you.
third course chip seal.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Yes, I move that we accept the following roadways in main place development into the county road system: Silverton Drive from Clearwater Place to cul-de-sac, 560 feet, Wrangler Court from Silverton Drive to dead end, 640 feet.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to accept the roadway from Silverton Drive, on Silverton Drive from Clearwater Place to the cul-de-sac, 560 feet on Wrangler Court from Silverton Drive to the dead end, 640 feet. Second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Lenny.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Development, Mr. Clint Head. Number 1, receive an update on the construction plans for Stewart Ranch Precinct Number 3. No action.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. This agenda item is just to update the court to let them know that the construction plans for Stewart Ranch in Precinct 3 was approved by the reviewing engineering staff. It's always done prior to accepting the developer's letter of agreement or considering the final plat.
Okay. All right. So now we're on B. You got to B then, right? Yeah, it's
sir.
both on Stewart Ranch in
Yes,
here.
sir.
So we got, okay. Do I hear a motion?
Oh, there's not a motion on it.
Well, number 1's no motion, but.
Okay, number B.
Yeah, B.
We have the final plat of Stewart Ranch and the developer's agreement to discuss and consider. The concept plan for this subdivision was approved on December 27, 2022. The preliminary plat was approved on February 27, 2024. This property is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 3. This will be the subdividing of 207 acres out of the W. Smith Survey Abstract 460 and the J. Tandy Survey Abstract number 799, the J. Brooks Survey Abstract number 846, all in Hood County, into 75 residential lots and 2 open space lots. These lots will be a minimum of 1 gross acre, with the largest being 11.4 acres. This subdivision will be served by AMUD water and on-site sewage facilities. This final plat is also proposing to construct 7,691.17 linear feet of private concrete streets. Staff has reviewed this final plat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends accepting the developer's agreement and approval of the final plat as presented.
Okay. Any questions or comments? If not, do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept the developer's letter of agreement and approving the final plat of Stewart Ranch.
Second.
Yeah, motion made by Commissioner Wilson to accept the developer's letter of agreement and approve the final plan of the Stewart Ranch. Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion or comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Next, we're going to adjourn into a public hearing at this time at 12:35 p.m. to consider and discuss the replat of Laguna Tres Estates. So, what do we got here? I got a bunch of speakers here, too. We got 1, 2, 3. I think I got 4 speakers on this thing up here. Go ahead and start it off for us, Mr.
All right.
Head.
This replat is located in the Water Quality District in Precinct 4, and it is the subdividing of Block 5 of Laguna Trace Estates. It will be creating lots 1 and 2, which will be over 1 acre in size as required by the regulations. These lots will be served by public water and on-site sewage facilities. We have a letter in the file that shows that there is already an existing water meter at this property, so water will be furnished to the new lot. As required by statute, letters were sent to every property owner in the subdivision to make them aware of the public hearing of the subdivision. Development also has a letter on file from the HOA stating they had no objection to the subdivision of the block. Staff has reviewed this replat and all comments have been addressed.
Okay. Now we got some people here. Eric Korth.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My question is, I'd like to just try and apply a little common sense to this whole thing. Why is this plat, what is this all about? We have no idea as a homeowner what this is all about. What is the purpose? What is the end game that's going on here? We are in Laguna Trace. We're over 200 homes in that development. And yes, we've seen various developments going down 51, but none of them have been sitting right in front of a big main development like our development. Right now, we already have a serious problem having to do with the traffic out there. The traffic on 51 has increased substantially. Just trying to get out of our development was a real chore. We've had major accidents already over there. I think it's getting real close that somebody's going to die out there, and we all know it's going to happen just based on what's happening down 51. If you can think about it for this moment, Tommy's is right there, located as the gas station that they're in there. So what happens is that everybody's coming down from either direction. They're trying to turn into Tommy's. There's no other lanes. There's only one-way lane going towards Weatherford. There's only one-way lane going back to Granbury. Speed limit's 55 miles an hour. So cars are flying down there, and that's assuming people are paying attention to the speed limit. The other problem is if you're going out of Granbury and you're heading towards Weatherford, you're coming over the 51 bridge. Now, people fly over that bridge too, and just to get into our development, right at the very end of this guardrail, that's where we have to turn into to get into our development. And so I was sitting there, I put a blinker on halfway coming off that bridge, and some person leaned on horn terribly, like I was screwing up his flying going by there, just trying to turn into our development. So the real key is that we don't want any more commercial structures in this development. Tommy's got in there. It doesn't make any sense that we have any more. We're not sitting outside of a big farm or something like that. We've got 200 homes trying to get in and out of there. And so the problem is the traffic. The traffic right now is terrible right now. If this is leading to some form of other commercial development in this development, it's just going to exceed this problem substantially. The last thing that I just like to point out about is, just hearing about the PFAS and all this other stuff in there. If you turn around and look at your own big, gigantic, blown-up structure there, you see the fine print up there? That's what we're supposed to be reading. That thing is 15 times bigger than what we've got here in our piece of paper. We have no idea what this says. I mean, you might be able to take out a gigantic magnifying glass, but one thing that I've been able to just see is a lot of it has to do with sewage. Now, the development that we're talking about, which is Block 5, is borders right next to Block 4. That whole big white area on the other side of that's Block 4. One of our wells for the water, our water that we drink in our development, is right there in Block 4. So what does this all mean on the sewage side of it? It's kind of terrifying to us because it's all the groundwater in there. So any form of anything getting mixed in with that groundwater is creating another big havoc for the whole development. We're not connected to the nice pipeline that goes right down the highway. We have to have our own water system in there. We don't have the opportunity to connect to that pipeline. So we're concerned about our own water and making sure that we're just not creating more problems with that. So that's all I'm up here about, is to say nobody's told us what this is all about. We don't know what the end game is. It certainly sounds like there's going to be more commercial development there. And we're right outside of a neighborhood. You tell me one other neighborhood that has has developments outside their neighborhood when you have a 200-home development. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Let me see, we've got a couple more people.
I'd like to respond to his concerns.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, basically what he's referring to is zoning issues. We do not zone. We do not apply restrictions to the property, whether it could be commercial or residential. The traffic is obviously TxDOT. They have thought that out, and where the driveway is for the Tommies right now, if you look on the plat, it's got a shared access easement. They plan on utilizing the same one, not adding another one. We do not know what the end game is. They may just be wanting to sell it. I believe the original landowner was intending on buying it back, but until they decide what they want to do with it, that's not something we regulate. As far as the sewer usage, we require twice the density that the state minimum is, so we go above and beyond for that. We require 1 gross acre when the state requires a half acre. I mean,
Let me, so Tommy's is totally located on Block 1, the proposed Block 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Totally.
Yes.
And Block 2 is just a part of the original plat, but there's nothing on it.
There's that old building where there used to be a sales office.
Right. Now, let me add on this Evelina Paseo, that's not a road, right now?
It's platted as a road, but it's just a grass field.
So,
And the HOA does own that road.
okay. So, as far as what statutorily the county has authority to do, we're doing that, correct?
We are.
Okay. All right, you got other speakers, I think?
Yes. Teresa Loving?
Mr. Head, is there a way to get a better print of this? It is, I mean, we can't read it either, so.
Prints out. I don't know what's wrong.
You go on your laptop, you can expand it up.
But it's just really blurry. I don't know.
Go ahead, ma'am. You can
Hello.
state your name and...
My name is Teresa Loving, and I'm a resident in Laguna Trace. And some of our concerns are safety. The commercial buildings have brought in a lot more traffic, be it vehicle traffic and foot traffic. We have more solicitors going around in our neighborhood, walking around, and majority of our residents are elderly. So you have people knocking on their doors, and probably coming from the Tommy's over there. And then there's no fence. Tommy said that they were gonna install a fence to separate the commercial from the residential, and that fence has been partially erupted, but not all the way. And we have had problems at the Tommy's with cars parked at the business at 3 o'clock in the morning, or people standing outside at the business. And that's kind of a safety issue or a safety concern for us. So we just want y'all to consider that as far as the more commercial buildings coming in that area.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next is Mike Sweat.
Yeah, name's Mike Sweat, and I have the dubious honor of being president of the HOA out there. And it's a high-paying job, I can assure you. Our main concern is not the replat. We understand different owners. That's kind of like when I worked for the ASCS or FSA, we had to split farms up when they sold off. So we understand that. Our main concern, and we've been working with TxDOT trying to get some more lanes where we can have some safety, but if any more commercial there, when you want to get out, you need to leave the house at 5 in the morning and not come back until about 10 that night because of it. So if the commissioners can help us anyway speed up the turning lane situation, which we were notified by TxDOT that they were going to put in some turning lanes, but it could be 18 to 24 months. So if y'all got any pull with them, we'd appreciate it, and I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you. Where would the turning lanes be? Turning into Laguna Estates there? Is that?
I'm sorry?
Have you heard anything from TxDOT about the turning lanes that he mentioned?
I have not.
Yeah, it's been discussed, yes, and one of the issues is when you're coming north on 51 and cross the dam is the guardrail, and this is Sarah Horner with TxDOT. We've been out there more than once, up and down 51, and that they can't do anything about those guardrails. So it makes it's almost as if when you come north off the bridge, you got to make almost a direct 90 degree to the right. So that's a problem. So, when Tommy's came in there was a struggle about, okay, the turn lanes, and Tommy's put in their turn lane. Now, TxDOT has reached out or assisted. Tommy's has reached out, the TxDOT has reached out and said if the HOA wants to partner with them, they can look into getting a quicker deal on a turn lane, if I remember correctly. Come on out if I'm incorrect about that.
Yes, sir. Sarah Horner notified me by email, and this was back in January, that they had, they would put in, we wouldn't partner. TxDOT would pay for them, but it's going to take 18 to 24 months to get it, because, you know, we all move real fast in the government. Believe me, I retired from them. But as far as, and I'm not sure how the turning lane's going to work, you know, because we've got an offset there with the lake and us, and we've heard possibly stoplights on either end, but there's going to have to be some traffic control there, or we're going to get people killed, and it's that simple.
And I know that they're looking at all the way up and down, all the way up to Atwood. And there's some blind, there's a blind hill and stuff like that up there. So they are looking at it, but they've got limited resources. And that's where we've had other, I think Commissioner Wilson had a turn lane added over in Acton at a location, and the county chipped in on part of that. So they're looking for, if you want to get it quicker, get something done quicker, you can throw in some money to it. So we can but I, certainly look to see what the status is with Sarah Horner now. Have you heard from her lately?
The last time I heard was, and I can't get on the, I was going to get on the email and the letter I had from her. I'll get it to you.
Okay, please do. Please do.
Thank you. Now we have one more speaker, Dorcia Metter.
Judge and Commissioners, thank you very much for letting us hear, Clint. Hey, I just wanted to follow up. We've been dealing with trying to stop some of the commercial growth. This is not the first time I've been before the Commissioners Court. Back when Tommy's first started a couple of years ago, and we knew that it was going to happen, but we have worked really hard to try to prevent the problems that we're seeing occur now, which is not only, when we did work with Tommy's really well, he has provided some promises and kept most of them, and it looks really nice, I have to say that. But there's a couple more things we're still having issues with, and we're just a little concerned with this division. It looks like it's going to be sold off to more commercial. And there's actually houses just to the outside of Lot 2, Block 5R, starting in our housing division. There's 4 or 5 houses on that one row. I live in the back, but what I'm affected by is the traffic coming in and out, people trying to turn down our streets thinking they can get into Tommy's, or they'll cut through the grass from our streets, and then, or 3 days ago, a gentleman pulled in, and then he backed up in the middle of the intersection while I was trying to turn in to Granada Calle, and I had stopped in the middle of 51, so I didn't hit him because he had blocked the intersection for me to enter the Laguna Trace. I know that the Commissioner's Court is not able to stop this process, and we understand that there's a need for splitting and dividing. And I know there's some other issues in the county that you guys are working on that are more important. And I've drove through some of those those areas that don't have any restrictions, and the county has no say. And I would encourage the Commissioner's Court to do what you can to get some teeth into some of your restrictions. I drove down one development in Precinct 3 and saw 60-something cars parked in yards, and the county has no teeth. And I'm very concerned about, okay, what's prevent somebody from building on Lot 2 a car salvage yard at the front of our housing addition? What is to stop that? But in your development and permit regulations that you post on your website under general provisions, you say under 1.2G, to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the county citizens. Do you really? Maybe we need to do some other things. On another page, page 2, under G, the Commissioners Court of Hood County has the authority and obligation to protect the public health, safety, welfare of the citizens of Hood County, and these regulations are necessary to effect such purpose. Again, page 3, the County Commissioners Court has adopted these regulations to preserve, protect the resources, public health, and private property interests of Hood County. I challenge you all, let's do something. Let's protect the county. It is more like a municipality with no restrictions to govern or to keep something like that from happening to the front of our housing addition. How would you like 60 cars parked across the street from your house? And that is true. I thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you'll consider that. We also have some light issues that are up on the current Tommy's that we have a meeting with him. Hopefully, he will negotiate with us and finish building his fence to block some of the headlight traffic that we're having in the neighborhood, and also the lights coming off the building can be redirected. But we are working with him. It's not that we haven't worked, but I would ask that Commissioners Court take a look at all this stuff and see what's happening in our county. Thank you very much.
Just to address some of her concerns, if you read the preamble of Section 1 or Section 2 of the regulations, it tells you what sections we adopt. Counties are an extension of the state. Our powers come from the state. Those laws that we built those regulations on are what we're talking about to protect the citizens, which is mainly water and sewer and drainage in the case of building streets or infrastructure. That is the only sections that are adopted, and that's the only ones that the state allows us to adopt. Now, a salvage yard, we could adopt a salvage yard order. In fact, I drafted one. But that's not a development thing, that's a countywide thing.
What have you heard? What do you think is going to be built on that Lot 2?
I don't know.
Lot 1 is where Tommy's is right now?
Yes.
And Tommy does own Lot 2 also?
Yeah.
Well, he owns it's the whole, he's trying to cut it. He owns the whole thing, or Tommy's does. So he's trying to cut it into 2 pieces.
What they use it for is not something I regulate, so it's not a question I ask.
That's right. We can't tell him what he can use it for.
Lot 2 has an old house on it right now.
Yeah, the old sales office.
Do what?
The Lot 2 has the old sales office on it. That's why it already has water.
So so no one from Tommy's has come and said anything to me about this, so I don't know. Not that, I guess, basically they don't have to. Their only requirement is to go to development, and development makes sure that all the requirements that the county would require, which basically goes to sewer, water, and the road situation is taken care of. Since there's public water, there's no 2-acre requirement for a well. So we could only speculate as to what he plans to do with that.
Right.
I don't see a salvage yard going there because that's not the highest and best use of that piece of property in that location.
No. And TxDOT reviewed the driveway permit as why they're sharing an access for that driveway. When they assessed that, and they would have said you need a turn lane at the time they assessed that. That's not the county, that's TxDOT.
Commissioner Eagle, has Ms. Horner done a traffic study there?
It's been a while. I think we had one done a couple of years ago, but we can do another one now that Tommy's. In fact, that's a good idea. Now that Tommy's is in there, we could order a traffic study.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Right, right.
How long ago was that? Was that before Tommy's?
No, it was after we got Tommy's building, I thought. Okay. I've got the email.
You know, I think, I really do feel for you people there. I mean, it's just, growth is just everywhere. I mean, the traffic on these same two-lane highways, when I came here 38 years ago, the traffic has just gotten horrendous, but we're limited, like what Mr. Head was saying. The county can't pass laws. I think you were, Ms. Mercer, when you said, can't you pass something, matter? We can't create any laws. We can only enforce the laws that the state allows us to do. That's why we're subject to the water and the sewage and stuff, so we can't tell anybody what they can do or pass an ordinance like the city can if this was within the city.
So my question is this: do we have any legal authority to deny this replat?
Not according to our regulations.
Nothing at all.
No.
That's a bitter, yes, ma'am?
That road right behind those two plots, is that what they're trying to make an asphalt so that they have a road all the way around those two plots?
No.
Doubtful, that's y'all's, that's the belongs.
I thought it was ours, so it is. Okay, so when you come off that bridge, there is no turning lane, and they're right on your butt, and I mean, they're honking, and you have to go so fast that right there beside that building, there's a big ditch, and I have to tell you, when the weather was bad, I almost slid over there. It is frightening. And you just don't understand unless you have to come in and out of there all the time how bad it is. And they have a sign in front of Tommy's that's a half triangle, and when the roads are slick, they put it down this way, which blocks the view of somebody coming 55 this way. I can't tell you how many times I thought I was clear, and I pull into the road, and then all of a sudden I have to go into the driveway of that building on the other side of the road or get hit to swerve and miss. You guys just don't understand, and I feel like I'm a good driver, but there's a lot of people in our neighborhood that are either elderly, they drive a little slower, their reflexes are a little slower, and I'm afraid that we will lose some of our neighbors if something is not done and done soon. That's all I have to say.
So I think it's the traffic study needs to be done.
And that would be something we'd require on a new subdivision. This is not a new subdivision, it's just a revision of the old
I
one.
understand that. I know Commissioner Eagles already got it on his list, but we meet with our TxDOT rep regularly and prioritize things that need to be looked at, and sounds like this is a priority. It's in Precinct 4.
Well, here's the other problem for the owner, is that obviously he's got some kind of plan, right? I mean, why would you do this if you didn't have some kind of plan? Makes no sense otherwise. The question is what he had to go through. There were a lot of issues to get easement, or not an easement, but access to his current Tommy's. He's still got to go back to DOT. If he decides he wants to do something with this lot, how's he going to get in there? And
that's what the joint access easement's for. They're going to use the same driveway.
The same one he's got now? So they got to go in off the road and then go back this way.
Right.
Even the semis that deliver the gas, everything. Even the trucks pulling the trailers, even the lawn people that gas up their lawnmowers there. You don't realize how dangerous it is there until you see. And you know what's really scary? You think you're turning left. You see that right here, somebody has their light blinker on to turn into Tommy's. So you think, oh, I'm safe. And you go to pull out, and these people are going 55 miles an hour down your shoulder around the guy turning to come right at you. And you're like halfway in the street going, holy crap! You know? I mean, seriously, it is scary.
I can only assume when they did Tommy's that TxDOT had told them they'd only give them one access, that way, because normally gas stations had two. So I think that's what they planned for when this division's why that joint access easement's on the property line.
Mr. Thomas? Come on up here. Here comes a sage advice up here. Let's see what. I want you to buy Tommy's out.
No.
No.
We're actually buying that Lot 2 back from Tommy's, just FYI. And we have no plans currently for anything else, except we want to tear down the building that's there because it's, well, people have broken into it and it's deteriorating quickly. And so we will be, that's the plans we have right now, is tear that down, clean that up. Other than that, we don't have plans for that. So
Okay.
Just FYI.
All right, so no plans to do any further commercial building on it?
Certainly not at this time, and not anytime in the near future anyway.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Well, go ahead.
I would like to mention that I am surprised that TxDOT didn't require turning lanes. We're doing a project on 567, and they're requiring us turn lanes both ways. And it's really without much more traffic than what Thomas has, but I am surprised. And every time we do something like that, we have to build turning lanes, but just a little FYI there too.
Okay.
Or a light with a protected turn.
Well, that gives you some solace on the thing that there's not going to be anything built there in the near future, for sure. But I don't see what we can do. We can't do anything to prevent this. We have, yes, ma'am?
Would you please come, sorry, please come to the mic, and
Some of us, they can hear you, your voice can carry.
I'm sorry. I have a question as far as separation, like from a commercial over into the residential, because right on the south end of the Lot 2, we have houses right there. So even though that commercial building there, all the lights at nighttime is going through the windows, so we have our elderly that can't sleep because it's shining through her window, or it's lighting up the whole front yard. And we have asked for them to turn their lights down, but is it not any zoning or regulations that can require them to put a fence? I'm just asking.
We do not have zoning, and we have no building code, so we cannot control aesthetics.
So it's nothing to separate residential from commercial?
Personal agreements.
Oh.
Do what? Would you?
personal agreements.
Personal agreement, yeah. Mr. Granick, Dr. Granick?
Just offhand, hand, I don't know if this will solve anything, but I've gone to Tommy enough to say, is there any way to access and exit from Tommy's into Granada, Calais?
That would be up to the HOA, they own that street.
Right now, that's a big no. Right now, that's a big no. They don't want to do that.
Because it would solve some of the problems we're talking about with the traffic and help the people in the area.
Well, we're going to have to go ahead and do that. Do I hear a motion?
We need to come out of public hearing.
Oh, we're done. All right, at 1:07, we are now convening back into Commissioner's Court.
So,
Motion.
this is in my precinct.
Yes.
At the risk of being burned in effigy, I am going to make the motion to approve this replat of Laguna Trace Estates, lots 1 and 2, Block 5R, especially based on Mr. Thomas's representation there was going to be a little botanical garden there and a walking path. No, I'm just kidding, sorry. First part of it.
Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the replat of Laguna Trace Estates, lots 1 and 2, Block 5R. Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Andrews.
I didn't want my voodoo doll out there either, so.
Second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay. Okay. 4 approves, 1 nay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, financial.
Okay, so the invoices to be approved for this court are $341,430. The auditor's office has reviewed all of these invoices for this court and recommends payment.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to pay the bills for $341,430.
Second.
Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to pay the bills, an amount of $341,430, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Next.
Okay, so all the financial reports are in, and my office has reviewed all of the monthly reports and asks that the court accepts them.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
A motion to accept all financial reports as presented and stated.
Second. A motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to accept all the financial reports received and reviewed by the Audit Department, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. So at this time, we are now going to adjourn into executive session to discuss the 2 items, 17 and 18, that's left on the agenda. So y'all can stay around, or you can leave with my blessing. Okay, it's 2 o'clock and we're back in Commissioner's Court. No action was taken in executive session, and several items were discussed. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, Judge, I'll make a motion. Of the 2 responsible sealed bids received, I'd like to make a motion to award RFP 2024-4 sealed bid for sale of real property to Tom and Ramona Peters Partnership at $1.5 million, and authorize the county attorney to negotiate a sales contract which will be considered for approval at a future court.
Second. Second.
Made by Commissioner Eagle to accept the bid, the RFB 2024-04 seal bid for sale of real property for what's his name? Peters in the amount of $1,500,002.
And 99 cents.
99 cents. Directed the county attorney prepare a sales contract and negotiate the sale. Second by Commissioner Samuelson. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Nay. Motion carries 4-1.
I have one more thing to do. I need to make, on the medical.
Oh, to discuss the medical lease.
Yes, so do you want me to just make the motion?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to request the county attorney to send actually request the judge to sign the termination letter on the lease agreement between Hood County, Texas, and the Granbury Clinic Asset Holding Company dated September 1st, 2021.
Second.
Okay. Where is this? Motion is made by Commissioner Samuelson to ask the county attorney to send a letter to the manager of the Granbury Clinic Company terminating the lease.
Yes, terminating the existing lease agreement.
Terminating the existing lease agreement, second by Commissioner Andrews. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Nay. The ayes have it, 4-1. That adjourns this meeting.